Councilor Soto,
Present.
Councilor Valley, present. Chief McNamara, not present. Chief Toto, absent. DPW Director Patrick Brower, absent. And Councilor DeZogo, present. So, acceptance of the agenda.
So moved.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Perfect. Just to review, the committee in charge, enhance public safety, prevent hazards, and coordinate proactive interventions, timeline, and reporting expectations. Old business, safety along the rail trail discussion. Me, over the last couple of weeks, we've all have gone out to where the bird sanctuary is to open up access from the police station to the rail trail. I actually got conservation to go out with us the other day. They have it on the agenda May 7th to discuss if we could cut up parts of that trail to open it up. Due to the fact that it is a habitat, it has to go through conservation. To expand it to do any like flowers or stuff like that, we probably have to get it surveyed and determine what wetlands is. But other than that, we are making headway on it for that access point. So I will let everybody know when the next time we have a meeting. Just to acknowledge, Councilor Valley is now present.
Perfect. If I may, Mr. Chair, through you.
Yes.
The public participation part of the meeting, if we could just acknowledge that there is no public participation, no one is present.
Oh, I thought I did. I'm sorry. Anybody for public participation? There isn't. So move on from that.
Thank you.
Next is the hydrant stakes on every fire hydrant. Obviously nobody from DPW is here, so we could just skip that. Traffic light on Pleasant Valley Street going on to 213 near the old Walgreens. Nobody's here to kind of acknowledge what update about that, so I will just move that. Resolution, the next agenda item is the resolution supporting the Willett family and adopting Methuen's proclamation of Motorcycle Safety and Awareness Month. It was a great event last meeting. We had that. It got distracted for a few days due to other matters of the city, but I don't know if anybody saw the Eagle Tribune. Mm-hmm. I did post it. They finally made an article in there, so I just want to acknowledge, thank you everybody again for supporting that. The Willett family does appreciate the support, and hopefully we can have more positive things like that in the future. Next is Councilor Soto's ordinance on utility permits. Is there any update on that?
So thank you, Mr. Chair, through you to the committee. I have submitted today in your presence the ordinance for utility permits. This is a draft, of course. It has not gone through DPW, the solicitor's office, or the chief for review. I was hoping that they would be here today to at least get a copy, but I'll make sure that I circulate it to them. And obviously this is ways before it can hit the council for vote. So I welcome any comments, suggestions, feedback, and comparisons to other communities. Again, this was specifically just recently done in Providence, Rhode Island. And so that is the ordinance that I am interpreting for Methuen. And the main points of that ordinance is to make sure that when our utility companies are going to do work in the city of Methuen, they have to notify the abutters when it's planned work. So if it's an emergency, obviously that's excluded. But if, for example, they're changing a light pole on XYZ Street, the immediate abutters to that pole on XYZ Street would be notified, and the extent of the work would be detailed, but they would also receive a timeline.
Councilor Valley, do you have any questions?
No, I just don't have a copy of the.
Oh,
Do you have another copy?
I gave you
That's
one.
it?
Yeah, I gave you
No,
one.
I don't have one.
no. Is this, oh, right here.
Thank you.
And there you go.
Thank you.
Thanks, Constable.
Yes. Awesome. Yep. I'll like to look at that. And like I said, I know that is an issue that a lot of residents have on that regarding that. So I am happy to, yeah.
So my request is that it remain on the agenda until this body moves it over to the full bot, to the
Yeah.
to the council.
One thing I do with all my committees, I always keep an item on it until it's completed.
Thank
So
you.
just acknowledge that Chief McNamara has just arrived. Chief, quick question. I do, regarding the traffic light on Pleasant Valley Street, is there any updates from Department of Transportation?
I'm going to have to touch base with the guys on the traffic unit. I didn't know that was on the agenda.
Yep.
I apologize.
No problem. Okay. Councilor Soto, your next ordinance is establishing handicap parking spots in Methuen. Any update?
Thank you. So that ordinance is for the chief, and I had some ongoing conversations in regards to figuring out a process where I believe we looked at the Boston methodology on how to do handicap parking. So we'd like to maintain that on the agenda until that's reviewed, looked by the solicitor's office, brought back to public safety, and then to the floor. So I'm not sure if the chief would like to talk about it briefly, but we're ways from bringing it to the council. There's still work that we may need a public hearing. I'm not 100% sure.
What?
So you may remember, Councilor, what we talked about was moving from the current process, which is simply giving the police chief unilateral decision-making on this, that somebody says that they're handicapped or shows that they're handicapped, so therefore I recommend that they get a space, right? I think we realized that that's not the way to do it when we looked at some other departments, including Boston, because there are certainly different levels of being handicapped. There are some people that their mobility is such they truly do need a handicap spot, where others perhaps not. So this really shouldn't be a decision that falls solely to the police chief. We think there should be doctors involved in this process. And as such, because we're going to be talking about people's medical backgrounds and what have you, this is a process that's probably better served being dealt with by our ADA coordinator under the umbrella of the Human Resources Department, with perhaps the police playing a role in it, but a much smaller role than is currently constituted.
So, new business, ordinance regarding restricting gas stations from selling gas to dirt bikes. So, I was contacted by Mrs. Susie in the Arlington district. She's, I guess, talked to you, Chief, and you directed her towards me. Lawrence just passed an ordinance regarding with all these dirt bikes that are constantly causing a ruckus, especially during the summertime, restricted their abilities to get gas. So I was brought up by her to bring it to here. That's one of the reasons why I put this meeting together today, to kind of move this forward before the summer goes. So, Chief, if you want to speak on behalf of that.
Sure, I certainly think that's a worthy endeavor. We saw what Lawrence did. We're very much concerned about these aggressive drivers that we're seeing out there. By the way, we are working with Lawrence and the state police right now and some of the other area departments to plan some enforcement events in the upcoming week so that we can get a handle on it early this year. But anything we can do to discourage that type of behavior, I think we should do. So yes, I'm very much on board. We are going to take a look at Lawrence's ordinance. We're going to propose something similar so that the full city council can contemplate whether that's appropriate for Methuen. So we're doing that in that arena. And just foreshadowing another issue, my staff is also looking at proposing a couple more public safety related ordinance, specifically as they relate to the Bitcoin process. They have these Bitcoin ATMs, and we're almost inevitably seeing every month, we're seeing 1, 2, 3, sometimes more incidents where our elders are being taken advantage of by some sort of scam, where they're then told to go use a Bitcoin ATM to transmit funds. And when they use this process, we have no means to recover the money. Whereas traditional ATMs and what have you, there are things that we can do to stop the process. So we're looking at what other cities and towns are doing with respect to those ATMs and considering whether or not we should pass some ordinance restricting those here in Methuen. I don't think that that's necessarily going to stand in the way of commerce. I don't know how many legitimate citizens feel like they need access to Bitcoin ATMs. We see that they're being used almost exclusively for fraud. But I know we're getting a little off topic, but to answer your question, yes, we will get back to you on that ordinance about the gasoline.
Right. Yep.
Yes, Mr. Chair, through you to the committee. So how are you going to prevent those 30 bikes driver from buying gas in another city? Like Lowell, for example, April?
Well, the point is to make sure we can't, but it will stop them from buying gas here in Methuen. So we're doing our part. But I bet the chief can talk to the other chiefs and make a combined effort to do that. But I can always try and contact other counselors to see if they will pass that. But to be honest, I
Kind
do.
of tough.
Yeah, but
yeah.
if we could do it here, then we're doing our part, at least, right?
Okay.
Maybe if they see Lawrence Methuen do it, Haverhill might say, oh, we should do it as well. So if we let it take its toll. So, Chief, if we could set up another committee meeting in the next couple of weeks, because residents are concerned about it before the summer. Can we get an ordinance together by then and work so we can talk about it at the next subcommittee meeting and then just get it passed through here and then bring it to that? What, Councilor, sorry, when's that next?
May 4th.
May 4th. So, it's the day after my birthday. Oh, perfect. So that would be great if maybe we could set up a meeting before then, see how we like it, and then send it to the council before then.
Okay.
All right.
Understood.
All right. Thank you. Assignments for the next meeting. We kind of have our assignments. Anything else from the committee? Yes, Chief.
I'm sorry, I know I should have. I know I was a little late. Did you guys already talk about the 2-hour parking?
No, that's not on our agenda.
Oh, I'm sorry, I thought it was.
No, we were going to plan on moving it to the subcommittee, but after all the emails and calls,
Okay.
I don't think we're going to do anything with that, to be honest. So,
All right.
But other than that, anybody else have anything?
If I may,
Yes.
I got a call today regarding sidewalks on Milk Street. So not sure if you, Mr. Chair, could reach out to the ADA Commission and have them start working on that conversation and then bring it back to us over here at Public Safety. Because I think it belongs there first. I could be wrong, but that's a request of mine to you. If maybe that can be looked at. So sidewalks on the Milk Street corridor.
Yep.
Kids walk that road, whether it's to the loop or to the park.
Yep. No, and that, because I lived right on Swan Ave, Milk Street sidewalks has been a conversation for 27 years. So that it should be I feel like that those major streets like that should have sidewalks. The city has been saying that for years. But yes, I agree with you. It should be a conversation now that should gain traction because I feel like that area is a dangerous area and more kids are now back over that area. So we should be looking at all options to increase sidewalk production, especially where budget season's coming, where busing and other conversations should be had. But yes, Milk Street, I will reach out to member Santos and see what we could do on
Wanda Santos.
Yeah, yeah. And see what she can put it on that agenda for her next meeting as well.
Perfect.
All right.
Thank you.
All right. Other than that, I want to call for a motion for adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Perfect. Meeting ended at 6:18.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Tuesday, April 21st, 2026. It is currently 7 p.m. at the Great Hall here in the Seals Building. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilor DiZoglio.
Present.
Councilor Drew.
Here.
Councilor McLaurin.
Present.
Councilor Marsan.
Here.
Councilor Pesh.
Present.
Councilor Santos.
Here.
Councilor Samard.
Here.
Councilor Valley.
Present.
Chair Soto.
Present. Thank you.
All present.
Thank you. Acceptance of the agenda. I'll take a motion to accept.
So moved.
Second.
Accepted by Councilor DiZoglio, seconded by Vice Chair Pesh. Discussion on the agenda. Yes.
Thank you, Madam
Counselor.
Chair. I'd like to make a motion to move TO 26-13 ordinances to right after number 9 presentations.
I have a motion to amend the agenda to bring up TO 26-14 to right after number 9.
13.
I'm sorry, thank you, 13, Councilor Pesh. Is there a second to that?
Second.
Second by Councilor Valley. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. On the main motion to accept the agenda, any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Can you please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please?
The agenda as amended.
Sorry, motion to accept the agenda as amended. That's why I have
So
her.
moved.
Second.
Moved by Councilor DiZoglio, seconded by Councilor Santos. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Now please stand. Thanks again. Pledge of Allegiance. One nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. If you could please remain standing. I have words of wisdom.
Never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed citizens can change the world. Margaret Mead.
Thank you, Counselor. Invocation, Counselor Santos.
We thank you, God, to bring us all together today to service our community. Your word reminds us the truth in you with all our heart and to seek your guidance in all we do. Grant us with wisdom and make us make decisions in clarity and discussion in unity in your purpose. Help us to act with integrity, compassion, and fairness for those we serve.
Thank you. You may be seated. Thank you.
If someone can grab the sheet for public participation. At this time, we'll open public participation. Speakers are reminded to state their name and address for the record prior to speaking. Each speaker shall be allotted the maximum of 5 minutes to speak. They will receive a warning when 1 minute remains and will not be permitted to speak after the allotted time. Speakers, as well as audience members, are expected to conduct themselves in a respectful and orderly manner. Any disruptive behavior may result in immediate removal of such person to restore order and ensure orderly conduct of this meeting. Thank you. Bonita Couture.
That's Latore.
Oh, I apologize.
Juanita Latore, 34 Forest Street. I'm here with regards to the VSO position that is presently being temporarily held by Mr. Sheehy, and I understand that the position has recently been posted online for applicants. And I would just like to point out to all of you, as a retired Army person, 22 years, I would like to remind you all about our values. And our values require loyalty, duty, respect, selfless service, honor, integrity, and personal courage. Not only did the Army teach me this, but my parents also taught me this, and I've carried it through my life. And I hope with the VSO position, you people also keep that in mind when you're selecting the candidate. Thank you.
Is there anyone else that wanted to speak that didn't sign up for public participation tonight? No? Okay, we have one, Madam Chair, to read into the record, I believe. Dear Mayor and City Council members, I'm writing to strongly oppose the proposed switch from Blue Cross Blue Shield to the Group Insurance Commission, the GIC. As a city employee with the fire department for over 22 plus years, this decision directly affects me, my family, and many others across the city, including my brothers and sisters on the fire department, who are raising families and dealing with serious, ongoing medical issues with their children. This is not a minor change. Moving to the GIC has the potential to disrupt critical, ongoing medical care. Many employees and their families could be forced to change doctors, lose access to specialists, or face interruptions in treatment simply because their current providers may not be covered. I want to make this real for you. Over the past year, my son has gone through extensive testing to diagnose serious health issues. Just recently, we finally got answers, and he has begun treatment at Boston Children's Hospital, including infusions every 2 weeks. After a long and difficult process, he is finally starting to improve. If this switch happens, there's a very real possibility that his current doctors and treatments will not be covered. That means that we could be forced to change providers or risk interrupting care at that exact moment he is starting to get better. That is not just disruptive, it is unacceptable. I understand that cost and long-term planning are factors in your decision, but I urge you to weigh those against the real human impact. Out of 351 cities and towns in the Commonwealth, fewer than 60 participate in GIC. That alone should raise concern. Entering into a 3-year agreement is a major commitment, especially if it ultimately fails to meet the needs of the employees it's supposed to serve. I'm not asking you to make a decision based on my situation alone. I'm asking you to do the due diligence this decision demands and fully understand the consequences for the people who rely on these benefits every day. Please reconsider this proposal. If you would like to discuss further, feel free to reach me. Respectfully, John Craig. And that will close public participation, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Madam Vice. Moving on to our organizational business, there is none. Reading and acceptance of the minutes from the previous meeting, April 6, 2026, was a regular meeting. Can I have a motion to accept?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Councilor Santos, seconded by Councilor DeZoglio. Any discussion on those minutes? Seeing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Proclamations and correspondence. There is a citation on the floor for Michelle DeRochers from Creative Hair from Councilor DeZoglio. Can I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Councilor Samard, seconded by Councilor DeZoglio. Any discussion?
Yes, thank you through you. The Methuen City Council issues this citation to Michelle Creative Hair for their over 23 years of quality hair and beauty services to the greater Methuen community. Thank you and congratulations.
Thank you, Councilor. Is Ms. DeRochers here this evening? Yeah. Yes, Councilor. Is your mic on, Councilor?
She's been a staple. Mr. Roches has been a staple in our community. She's been in the square for, many years. Most of us know her personally, what she's done for the community, what she does outside of it, what type of a person she is, and what type of a quality person she is. She's always giving out to others and from herself. So it's more than just her hair salon that we're recognizing here tonight. So thank you.
Thank you so much.
So, I just want to say I met her actually like a week ago, 2 weeks ago. But talking to her and how much she's given back to this community, I feel like she's earned it to get this reward because I actually having a great conversation with her. It shows that she loves this city. She's from here. And, I think we should be appreciating the people that will stick their business here for 23 years. Deserves these awards. So thank you.
Thank you, Councilor. All right, with that being said, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Do you, wait, Should we have
Yep,
her say?
motion carries. We'll take a 5-minute recess so we could provide you with the citation and take some pictures. Do you have anything to say, madam?
Oh, thank you very much for the opportunity to be here.
Thank you. 5-minute recess.
Thank you.
Methuen City Council regular meeting. We're returning from a 5-minute recess. It is 7:12. Madam Clerk, please take the roll.
Counselor DiZoglio.
Present.
Counselor Drew.
Here.
Counselor McLaurin.
Present.
Counselor Marsan.
Here.
Counselor Pesh.
Present.
Counselor Santos.
Present.
Counselor Samard.
Here.
Counselor Valley.
Present.
And Chair Soto.
Present. Thank
All
you for
present.
that, Madam Clerk. Where were we? Considerations and appointments. There's none this evening. Presentations, project department updates. There are none. We have the mayor's report up next.
Nope, we moved.
Sorry, we moved
TO
Yep,
2613.
TO 26-13. Let me grab that. That's at the end of the agenda. That's actually mine. TO 26-13, an ordinance amending the Methuen Municipal Code, Section 4-1, letter J, nepotism. It's a request from myself. Can I have a motion to approve?
So moved. Second.
Motion by Counselor McLaren, seconded by Counselor Valley. Any discussion? Counselor Pesh, I actually have a statement. Do you mind?
Sure. I just had questions, and I know I spoke with the chair on this as well as the assistant solicitor, involving the definition of family member. And I completely understand the thought behind this. I understand why we want it in place. My only concern is that I don't necessarily see nepotism where two related individuals are working within the same department, so long as one of those are not in a supervising role. So it does create some problems because, I mean, in some ways, who wants to take a position knowing that ultimately they can never be promoted to a supervising role, but on the same hand, I think of, let's say, a father and a son going into the same line of work. If they both want to work within the city that they so love, and that city is Methuen, it's a shame that they can't do that. So I'd love to hear, I know that the Human Resource Director is here, I'd love to hear her perspective on this. I'd love to hear what the chair has to say, but that was really my only thought process behind it. I don't want to limit families who have chosen to go into the same career path from working in our city. Thanks.
Good evening, counselors. So in that case, if there were a father and a son, and one of whom got promoted, I think it may conflict with the state ethics law under 268. So I think in that sense, we may have that issue regardless. I think one of the things that was pointed out to me today are that there are some very large departments in the city, for example, DPW, where some of the departments don't even interact with the other. They're in completely different locations. So one of the things that I wanted to bring tonight was considering whether we want to amend this in some way to read as divisions within a department, or also in the HHSI department, there are the building and the health divisions. Those two departments rarely interact. So I think, if there were people that were working on equivalent levels that were not interacting, we may not necessarily want to prohibit them. But that's just a suggestion.
So my question is, you said divisions of the department. Do you have a copy of the ordinance in front of you?
I do.
Or is there a specific section where you'd like that added?
So under policy, under subsection B, it states department. I think it may be helpful and preserve the intent of the ordinance if we said division of the department in that location, as well as in C and D.
So in the letter B, C, and D.
Yes.
Thank you. Before that amendment is made on the floor, is there any further questions or discussions, or did you want to go straight to?
No, I'm just wondering how that would work. So like in C, and I'm sorry, I'm just doing this right now, obviously, because this was just made. No family member of persons holding the position of department head. So would that be like, do we have division heads?
We do have division heads. I was also thinking about the superintendents, who would be a superintendent of a completely different division. It's something to consider. I know that the intent is to read this broadly, but there are certain positions in the city that really have little to do with one another, although they're in the same larger category.
Can we send this back perhaps to our solicitors and broaden it to something like a supervising role? Because my issue would be, and the only time I really think this gets affected, again, is if one relative has supervision over the other, right? If you have a direct interest, if you're affecting them in some way. So I don't know if we can default to something more broad, like a supervising interest or supervising role on that other family member, I think is what the word is, right? Family member. Like, it doesn't matter if they're a division head, they might be a manager, I don't know the titles we have in our divisions or within our different departments, so long as I don't have authority to control the job function or job promotion in any way of my family member, I don't necessarily see it as an issue. And do we know how many current employees we have now that, like, if this were implemented prior, would fall under this?
I would say there's over 10 relatives in the city. It's hard to kind of quantify it because one person could be related to multiple people. So when I was trying to put this together, it was kind of a mess. But as far as supervising another family member, I would say that there's one instance that I'm aware of.
Yeah, I don't think we should have any instances of family members supervising other family members, but that's just my opinion. I'll let someone else talk.
Councilor Drew.
My main question to this is really what's driving this to coming in front of us tonight. Is what was the catalyst to this meeting here?
Counselor, this was a conversation I had with HR and our then recently hired assistant solicitor in November of 2025. And it was a conversation that I had with a constituent that expressed that the summer jobs or summer work available through the city of Methuen would particularly be given only to city employees. And so if you see this nepotism ordinance, even though it's spelling out specifically the family members, because what we had was very vague and was very short. So this actually spells it out. It states it includes the summer work. So it's actually the most stringent in the state right now compared to Plymouth, which was the most stringent. They did not include the summer work, but I made that change for this ordinance. So that's what brought that up in November of 2025.
Okay. I'm just wondering, I mean, obviously nepotism there can be problems with it and so forth, but when people are qualified for jobs, that's what you need. Sometimes that's what happens, but looking at our current way it's written, I mean, it says no appointed or elected official shall appoint or vote for appointment of any person related to him or her by blood or marriage, or any clerkship, office, position, employment, or duty, when the salary, wages, pay, or compensation is to be paid out of public funds. I mean, it seems pretty clear that all of that is, if your family is in charge of you, you shouldn't be able to be hired. This seems like it's a very overkill ordinance in that sense. Like, it's really very stringent on a lot of things.
For clarification, Counselor, are you saying that we should be allowed to vote? Is that what you're telling me? Is that, I'm trying to understand.
What do you mean, vote?
You said it's an overkill because of its specificity, because it being too specific? Is that what you're saying?
It seems that way, considering, I mean, what we have on record now says anybody who is a family member by either blood or marriage. And even further up, it does clarify the family members according to it in the wordage. I'm just wondering the purpose of this.
I guess I'm confused. Are you speaking about the previous, our current ordinance in the municipal code, or what I drafted, what I brought forth, which is mimicking Plymouth? Can I have clarity on that?
I'm saying what we have currently seems sufficient for what we currently need. I just feel like this is a very heavy-handed item.
I think we would benefit from an updated ordinance in this respect, from many updated ordinances. I would never oppose that. That said, I think, and the solicitor can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that specific section may be already in the state ethics provision.
Yep, that's true.
So I don't oppose it.
Okay. Thank you. Does that clarify, Counselor? Thanks. Counselor DiZoglio.
Thank you. To you, Madam Chair. The only one of my concerns is D of Paul's 2D. Two employees in the same department become family members after effective date of this policy. So, and I'm going to make a joke about this. If all of a sudden John and I were working in the same department and our parents got married, we would have to vacate because our parents made that decision. Like, I just feel like, because it's a step, like, he's my stepbrother now at that point, at 37 years old. And if I've been working in this department for 15 years and he has too, well, one of us has to vacate 90 days. I feel like that's unfair, especially if we're both doing a good job. Like, I just feel like that policy to me is, I get it if someone, like if I'm become a stepdad and all of a sudden I try to get my kid a job and he's not qualified, I would say, and he's already in this position, I still feel it's unfair that a kid or someone has to leave a department because someone gets a promotion or step brothers and sisters become about while we're working. I feel like that event took place. That's my concern. So can you?
Yeah, you're correct. That would have to happen. One of the two parties would have to vacate.
And yeah, I feel like
And if they
that's-
can't decide amongst themselves, then Human Resources would have that call.
But how do you? And I just feel that what happens if we're both 15 years in, we've never had a problem, we've always come to work on time, we've, done everything that we are asking of the city, and then all of a sudden, because our parents got married, now as stepbrothers, one of us has to leave. If not, Gina would have to decide who to fire us. But then how is she supposed to come up with that decision and be fair for either party?
So I think the HR, and I would let her answer this, but I think they would decipher to what other department that person would be moved to or would go to. Because we're talking about, you're talking about a very specific circumstance that could potentially happen, I agree. But, does it happen here regularly in Methuen that?
Not since I've been here.
Okay. So if and when, then your department would have to make that call, correct?
That's correct. I also think by adding division of the department, it might minimize these chances even further. Or say if there were two laborers, there are so many different divisions of DPW that you wouldn't necessarily be firing somebody. You could put somebody in an equivalent position just in a different division of the department. So that might help as well.
So what happens if those divisions don't have spaces? So then does it knock off someone at the bottom that just came in and just got hired?
I think we go to the CAFO and beg for funding. No, in all honesty, I think the funding from one position could likely be moved with it to another equivalent position. So I don't foresee funding as an issue in that regard.
Counselor Marsan.
Thank you. So I like the part about a foreman or a supervisor is not able to oversee a family member. That's not a bad thing. But as far as two siblings working in the same department that happen to be, one's in the tree department and one's working down at the treatment plant. So if we can word it like the director's saying, somehow within divisions so that Councilor DeZoglio's scenario doesn't really come up. And as long as they're not supervising each other. So if we have two siblings that are working side by side, that's not the end of the world. One's not telling the other one that what they have to do. It's not a supervisor. So maybe we could clarify D, and if we put in that division clause where it should be and how it should be worded so that it broadens it more so that they're not in a supervisory role. That's all I'm looking for. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Samar, okay. Okay, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. You'll hear no resistance from me when it comes to adopting a good government measure like this, but I just wanted to share some feedback that I had received from the DPW director as well as just conversations with Superintendent Angelo. Historically, or at least in recent years, they've hired every kid who has applied for these summer opportunities, regardless of who they've been related to, simply because there haven't been this huge amount of people applying for these opportunities, which speaks to something new that's happening, that school committee member Alejandro Baez is spearheading this effort to have, for the first time, a high school job fair, which will really help us get the word out about these opportunities. That'll be held in the next few weeks. Actually, I think it might be next week or the week after. I'll have to double check. But anyway, that's going to go a long way in terms of advertising these opportunities and getting the word out there. And so certainly the more applicants that we have, certainly the healthier the process will be, broadly speaking. So I wanted to share that on behalf of DPW. Thank you.
Thanks. Councilor Samar, did you have something?
Sure. I agree with this somewhat, but there was some wording that I'd want to change, and I'd be in favor of a table so we could tweak it. Well, like the solicitor says, we can massage it, but I don't like the idea of shaming employees that are hardworking, that have been here for years and who've maybe followed in their mother or father's footsteps and want to work for the city of Methuen. And then we're going to shame them even more, saying, all right, well, I'm not in violation because I was hired before, but I got to declare that now, so now I'm on the hit list. It's just, I think we got to change the wording. And as far as voting on something, if I think there's a conflict, I'm calling state ethics, and I'm going to get confirmation. I'm going to declare it on the floor, and I'm not going to vote if they say I can't vote. But I think we're just, we got to tweak it, a few things where we're not as, I think, abrasive to some of our employees. So that's how I feel. And I'd be a no vote if we were to go to vote now.
Did you have something? Anybody else?
I'm in agreement with a lot of what was said, obviously, and I would agree that this needs to be tweaked a little, so I will make a motion to table.
Okay, I have a motion to table on the floor.
So moved.
Seconded by Counselor DeZoglio. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. TO 2613 has been tabled. That's good. All right, so now we're moving on to the mayor's report. Mr. Mayor, though, before you take the floor, I'd like to make a public statement. I want to respectfully, as the chair of this body, I want to let you know that the council should not be viewed through the lens of which votes are favorable and which votes are not. We were each elected to show up, ask questions, deliberate, and exercise our legislative authority. That's exactly what we're here to do. We're the checks and balances that are part of this process, and our votes are not personal. We are not, I don't want this body to be discouraged when an outcome is not what you expect it to be. And as a council chair, I just want to protect the integrity of the body. And with that being said, I don't want there to be any sense of favoritism out there. And I do not believe that the council should be ridiculed for doing work. It was the work that it was elected to do. My hope is that we can move forward with mutual respect from our side and your side, accepting our roles without creating any further or any division of this body that the public may see as a disagreement. We may not always vote the same, but we should always be able to govern in a way that respects the process and that the people and respects the people that we all serve. I would appreciate moving forward your cooperation when something is not voted in your expected manner. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Madam Chair, for the statement. I appreciate that sentiment, and with all due respect, I hope that those sentiments are echoed back my way as well from members of the council. So with that, I'll dive right into the mayor's report. MEVA recently launched a new bus route that significantly expands public transportation access across our city. Starting on Monday, April 6th, the new Route 25 introduced a cross-town bus service in Methuen for the first time, at least in recent memory. Operating Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. to 6:20 p.m., buses run approximately every 80 minutes between the Loop and Merrimack Plaza along Haverhill Street, Mystic Street, and Lowell Street. The route also serves major shopping areas and community destinations along the corridor, improving mobility for residents, seniors, and workers across the city. As part of the city's ongoing partnership with MEVA, bus service within Methuen will remain fare-free, helping remove transportation barriers for residents and making it easier to access city services, businesses, and community resources. You can find out information about the route schedules and other details at mevatransit.com. Regarding leaf and yard waste pickup, DPW began the seasonal service on Monday, April 6th as well. Collection will run through November. Just as a reminder to residents, leaves and yard waste have to be placed in paper bags only. They don't accept plastic bags. You can also use barrels, but they have to be clearly marked as yard waste. For brush and branches, they have to actually be out of bags. They can't be bagged. They have to be tied in bundles. Leaves and yard waste are picked up on your regular recycling day, so it follows that schedule. And that's the day to have everything out and ready. And for residents who may prefer to handle it directly, you can bring leaves, yard waste, and brush to the transfer station. Also on April 6th, it was a busy day that day. We held an event here at City Hall to recognize Autism Awareness Month. There was a speaking program and a flag-raising ceremony. I'd like to thank Wanda Santos and the Commission on Disability for putting the event together. It helped reinforce that Methuen is a community that values inclusion, understanding, and support for individuals and families navigating autism, and we're proud to continue building a city where everyone feels seen and supported. I want to take a minute to highlight the outstanding work happening in our Veteran Services Office. The office is open, it's active, it's making a real difference for the men and women who have served our country. Acting VSO Tim Sheehy, a Marine veteran of Operation Desert Storm, has stepped up in a big way. He's not just keeping the office running, he's been going above and beyond, including personally helping bring veterans to go grocery shopping so they have the food they need. He and Jessica Khalil have been doing a great job, and we're grateful for Tim's leadership during this transition. At the same time, we're moving forward with the search for a permanent VSO. The job posting is now live, and we've started reaching out to local veterans about participating in the search committee, which will be led by Councilor Samart and former Secretary Francisco Urena of the Massachusetts Department of Veteran Services. So that process is now underway. Regarding some things on tonight's agenda, we have an item tonight that would transfer the funds to cover the grant writing service. It'll be funded out of the professional services line item in the budget, so having the funding source firmed up will allow us to move forward with finalizing our contract with the vendor. The goal that we outlined in the RFP specs is to obtain roughly $3 to $4 million in new grant funding above and beyond what we already received through entitlement grants and the like, so that will allow us to actually move forward. Regarding the 2026 paving season, we've received bids for at least one of the two aspects of the process. This is regarding full depth reclamation for roads that are in severe need of a more thorough repair. We anticipate that those will be ready for review at the May 4th City Council meeting. Once those contracts are executed, DPW will be able to coordinate with the contractor to establish a construction schedule. Work is set to begin later in May. We're also planning to proceed with the other side of the paving equation, that's milling and paving. However, that work will require a separate bid process. DPW, they intentionally stagger these types of paving work for a couple of reasons. First, full depth reclamation is more involved from an operational standpoint, and sequencing it first allows DPW the opportunity to have sufficient time to address any field conditions or unforeseen issues. And also, this helps us manage things better from a police detail standpoint, which can be challenging if all roadway operations occur simultaneously. So this is something that DPW is very much on top of. We're also, of course, engaging in preparations for the fiscal year 27 budget, which, similar to most other municipalities in the Commonwealth, all of them, from what I've heard, they're dealing with similar type of budget crunch, and so we've been engaging in conversations with department heads, but also looking for some creative ways to generate new revenue, savings, and the like. But the long and short of it is that we are in a place now where, over the course of time, government at the local level has grown in both size and spending, and so at this point, we're dealing with a decrease in federal aid. State aid isn't coming in at a fast enough clip for us to keep up, and we're at a point where we're needing to make some difficult decisions, and so we're having those conversations now, and ultimately on the 8th of May, we'll be presenting the City Council with a budget, and we'll have to balance that budget, of course, in Methuen, a place that would never in a million years, and rightfully so, support an override. We have to do without that type of tool in our toolkit, so we're doing all that we can to tighten our belt and make sure that we are able to leverage our resources in a way that allows us to have a properly balanced budget without needing to go to the taxpayers for more money. So that's the long and short of my report for tonight. I can answer some more questions during requests of councilors, but that's my report for now.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Madam Caffel, you're next on the agenda. And I believe you only have to review the projections for the past and future funding sources. I do see an email you just sent right before we sat here.
Yep.
If you don't mind, I'll give the floor to Counselor Pesh, since that's her item, and then we can go from there.
Yeah, I was just looking for this. I didn't expect it to turn into such a big ask. I apologize. I don't know if you want to go over the numbers. I don't know if everybody saw the.
No, I didn't. I was
email.
going to go over it now. I only gave it to you. I haven't given it to everyone, so I was just going to go over it now.
Oh, okay.
If
I'll
that's
let you
okay.
start, Madam
Okay.
Council. Sure, thanks.
Yep. First of all, I want to appreciate your patience with me on this and not quite understanding exactly what we were looking for at last meeting. Provided the clarity that I'm hoping is going to get you what you were actually looking for. So that was really helpful. So if every current employee in the city, not including the schools, but on the city side, were to take 4 weeks off as allowed by the executive order, it would equate to a cash value of about $2.5 million. This isn't a cash benefit necessarily, but I think that was the look. That's what we were looking at, is to try and see if it were to be a cash value, what would it be? That's assuming every single current employee were to take those 4 weeks. That's what it would be. It would be about $2.5 million. Just for his past experience, we have documented 13 employees that have formally taken parental leave since 2023, so the last 2.5 years. So I just wanted to kind of give you that scope of the 13 that we have documented. That would be about $65,000, again, cash value for those 4 weeks if they had all taken the 4 weeks. So just kind of showing you that range similar to how we've done it in the past. I do want to note that right now, part of this benefit is that it needs to be bargained with the unions. And so an MOU has been provided to each of the unions as far as getting into an agreement about this parental leave, none of which have been currently signed at this point. So if they haven't been signed, they are not subject to the benefit. So as of right now, the only people who are actually eligible for this benefit is unaffiliated and department heads.
Thank you. And I just want to say two things irked me about this. And while I think it's a wonderful benefit for our employees, and I do not disagree with it in any way, shape, or form, I'm so happy that it's being offered to them at present. The two things that irked me about it was, one, that we didn't have the financial impact, because to me it was very reminiscent of, again, when I was putting forward the insurance, which again was, we had an astronomical number, but in all actuality, it would have been very, very minimal, but that was never presented. So that's what we're getting here, right? There's the astronomical potential cost of $2.5 million, but in actuality, we're hoping that it's going to be much less than that. And then the second thing was, I just wish this had been done through collective bargaining. I think it would have been a great tool for negotiation, and it's the mayor's decision, obviously. And again, I understand why we are offering this benefit. I'm in complete agreement with that. Just the way to have implemented it, I guess, I felt should have been through collective bargaining. But that was it. But thank you. I thank you for this, and this is exactly what I was looking for. Thanks.
Perfect. The next item you actually answered, Madam Cathal, so we're all set with that one. Moving on to the request of counselors.
I can dive right in, Madam Chair, if that's all right. So first of all, I neglected to mention some upcoming events during my report, so I'll circle back to that and then get into the requests. So first of all, this Friday, the 24th at noon, we're commemorating Methuen's remembrance of the Armenian genocide. This is something that we have commemorated over the past several years. So if you're available, hope you'll join us on Friday at noon here at City Hall for that. On Saturday morning, we have the Earth Day cleanup. We have many different cleanup opportunities across the city. We have information available on the website at methuen.gov. Also on Saturday is opening day for girls softball. I think everyone should have received an invitation to that from the league. Also on Monday, the 27th at 11 a.m., there's going to be a ribbon cutting for the newly renovated Xfinity store next to Market Basket and Walmart at 70 Pleasant Valley Street. And then here's my reminder about school committee member Alejandro Baez's first Methuen High job fair in partnership with the Youth Center. It's going to be on April 30th at roughly 2:15 p.m., I believe. I'll have to confirm the exact time, but it'll be that afternoon. So if you're around, I encourage you to attend and check that out. Regarding the requests of councilors, Council Valley, you have a request about Echo Lane. We have nothing new at this point still. I apologize for that. I'll follow up with DPW regarding that project. It's just been a lot dealing with budget and the like, and so I will bring that a little closer to the front of the burner. Councilor Santos has a request regarding the status on the plan for police, fire, and DPW facilities. At the next meeting, we have the contract for Weston and Sampson. It would be an expansion of their scope. We already have been working with them regarding the DPW building, and so Director Bauer has been able to secure for us a draft of an agreement. So we'll have that hopefully on the agenda on May 4th for your consideration, and that would allow us to expand our scope officially with Weston and Sampson. They've been helpful in terms of providing some guidance, but the real meat of the services they offer can be provided through that expanded scope. So that'll be the next step for the council to consider in that regard, which is great. There's also a request for a report done by the state regarding the Oakland Avenue Bridge. As far as I am aware, I did some digging. I haven't seen an exact report from the state regarding the bridge. However, it is listed as a project that they have on their list for replacement. The challenge, of course, is an official timetable for that. The state is dealing with a lot of other significant infrastructure issues on top of this, and so there's no guarantee about the time frame for full replacement. Excuse me, but nevertheless, regarding the issue that we have there now with the bridge deck, we have cost estimates for the repair. We're looking at roughly $60,000 for the bridge deck repair. I want to acknowledge Senator Payano and Representative Estela Reyes for putting forth an effort to get the funding needed for the repair project. So once that is complete, we'll be able to ensure that it's safe and reopen it. I don't want to keep it closed pending the full replacement, given the fact that that could be an extended period of time. As long as we're able to fix the issues and have it certified that it's safe for passage, we'll have that reopened. And I want to thank the delegation for their help. Councilor Marsan was looking for an update regarding Lowell Street and East Capitol Street and that project. Work is underway again now, and the expected timeline for completion, we're looking at 6 weeks. So that's something that we will follow up on and hold the contractors to, so we can ensure that that's finished in short order. Regarding the barrel issue, I know Councilor Drew had this on the agenda. Anything that was new in terms of new requests, we've been fulfilling those without issue. Regarding the fees, the plan for the fees is to collect them this spring for this current year, but as part of our extension with Harvey. This is one of the aspects of the program that we're going to be passing off to Harvey, because it is something from the start they should have been, I think, dealing with the payment collection process, et cetera, anything regarding the carts. And so that's built into the agreement that we recently locked in with them for the final extension year for that contract. So that's something we're taking care of for the final time this spring, but Harvey will pick that up.
Just a question on that. Mr.
Yeah.
So the extra barrels that are out there right now, the city is the one that, I know I have one, so the city's the one that contacts me. I pay for it online. So Harvey's going to take that all over now?
Yes.
So they're going to be able to find all the ones that we have out there?
Yes.
All right.
Yeah. So we have that in our records through OpenGov.
Yeah.
Thankfully, it's automated through that mechanism, so we have a sense of what's out there. So we'll be able to follow up on that, but also offload that to Harvey with that system.
So, to Councilor Marzan's point, they'll accept the payments, they'll bring all that in on their own? Didn't we have a position for that person to be checking the barrels and making sure that everything was captured across the city? That was one of the reasons that we brought that position in?
Yeah, so the goal with that position is to accomplish a couple of different things. First of all, to ensure that the ordinance is being followed, but also to hold the vendor to account to ensure that the vendor is living up to their end of the bargain. But beyond that, there's this issue where we haven't had anybody out there consistently in the field to, in essence, have the city's eyes on the program from soup to nuts, including the barrel issue. And so this is part of what the sanitation coordinator will be helping us address in terms of keeping everything on the level in terms of the cart system. But when it comes to collecting the payments and dealing with the back end of things, that's something that we want Harvey to address. That's a function that isn't appropriate in the context of what DPW is trying to do.
And we're going to have some sort of oversight within our own office to be able to track the amount of money that's coming in so that it doesn't disappear or anything like that?
So the idea would be that they will handle the billing and we will collect it. So the remittance of those bills will come here. So they won't be collecting it on our, they will be sending out the bills, they'll be tracking it and staying on top of it to make sure that people do pay their bills. But we will actually collect the funds.
Thank you.
Regarding another request on the agenda, this is relative to the lack of restroom access at the youth baseball fields, including delayed water service, public health, and sanitary concerns, and requests for an administration response.
Mr. Mayor, we could discuss that. The Parks and Recreation Committee actually put a resolution on the floor this evening. So I think at that discussion, we could talk about that, unless you want to elaborate on your response.
Yeah, that would be fine. Happy to talk about it more when we get to it, but just for some context, this involves some issues that took place at the ball fields back in March. And in this context, Superintendent Angelo had communicated with the league officials regarding the lack of bathroom access, specifically in the month of March. Of course, we live in New England, and with overnight freezing temperatures, of course, leading into March and the like, the water for the bathrooms couldn't be turned on at that time due to the freezing temperatures and the likelihood of issues with pipes and the like. But at this point, it's on, and there's no issue. But the crux of this circles back to time in March when I think there was some misplaced communication, perhaps among the officials, where the city had been letting them know that, hey, the water's not on due to the temperatures still being too cold. And, I think there was a desire for the kids to have access to the fields anyway. So that was, from what I ascertained, the issue there. Regarding the RFPs for the parks and facilities, this was a request of Councilor Drew. We recently had a very productive meeting with representatives from a company called Trane, spelled Trane. They're out of Wilmington. They shared information about conducting a comprehensive facilities audit through something that's called the Energy Management Services Framework. Is provided to municipalities through a component of Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 25A. It's an opportunity that could give us a structured, state-compliant path to help benchmark our buildings, conduct a detailed assessment, and identify some priority upgrades across both city and school facilities. The goal of a program like that is to focus on identifying improvements that can be financed, particularly through energy savings. So this is something that I think is worthwhile to explore further, especially since the groundwork is already largely laid at the state level, and this would allow us to engage in that more detailed analysis regarding our facilities. Something else on the agenda, this is a request of Councilor Valley. It states request to the mayor to provide an update on the proposed closure of the maternity and neonatal services at the former Holy Family Hospital, including any actions the city has taken or plans to take to address the impact on residents and access to care. So from what I understand from my own conversations with Diana Richardson, she's the CEO of Merrimack Health, The intent is to convert that space at the former Holy Family site from a maternity type of section to med-surg. And the intent was to do some reshuffling in terms of personnel and have maternity services be focused in Lawrence at the old Lawrence General Campus. But from the sounds of it, their plan is to repurpose that ward for med-surg operations. In terms of anything the city can do, we're limited in terms of our ability to provide guidance. Of course, anytime I've had conversations with representatives from the hospital, it's such a vital resource in terms of public health for our community. And so, looking back at the Stewart debacle, for me, I look at the hospital with gratitude for Lawrence General in their work in terms of saving it, keeping it open. And so I understand that there are some consolidation needs that they have just to ensure that they're able to remain financially viable. So these are the types of decisions they're having to make in order to maximize the resources they have and, of course, continue to do their best to provide patient care to residents in Methuen. But long and short of it is that it sounds like it's more of a repurposing of that ward for other medical purposes. That's the latest that I have there.
Madam Chair.
Yeah.
Yes, sorry.
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I know it is a nonprofit and there's not much that the city can do, but I received multiple phone calls from constituents' concerns about the 85 jobs that are being affected. I know the city cannot do anything about it, but some of them are residents from Methuen.
Right, yeah. It's one of our largest employers. And something that I will share, if you think about it, there's been a maternity ward on the premises at that hospital site going back many decades. And so, one of the saddest aspects of this is that this is going to be the first time since, I don't know, the 1950s perhaps, or whenever the hospital opened, that people aren't going to be born in Methuen. So that is a sad development. But ultimately, I know their goal is to ensure the financial viability of the hospital, broadly speaking, and they're doing the best they can, and I understand that. But at the same time, I do appreciate the impact on people who work at the hospital, live in Methuen, rely on the hospital for those services, and we'll do all that we can to stay in touch with leadership and ensure that they're able to keep those doors open in Methuen.
Thank you.
All right. Councilor Samard.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Two things. Mr. Jensen sent an email to me as the chair of the Veterans Committee, and I checked with the chair. We thought it would be more appropriate to read it during the mayor's talk because it relates to the VSO position. So with that said, I'll read his letter. Paul Jensen, our former VSO. My name is Paul Jensen. I live at 17 Fairways Lane in Methuen. I am the former Veteran Service Officer for the City of Methuen. I am here not to represent myself, but to represent the more than 3,000 veterans and veteran family members in our community. Since my departure, the city has not had a full-time Veteran Service Officer, and there has been no apparent effort to post the position or begin the process of selecting a new candidate. In the meantime, veterans in the City of Methuen has suffered from the lack of full-time representation. My concern is that the longer this delay continues, the greater the risk that this role becomes a political appointment. That would be a mistake. This position should be filled through an open and transparent process guided by a committee composed primarily of veterans to ensure the selection of someone who truly understands and cares about the needs of fellow veterans. While the position may formally report to the mayor, the Veteran Service Officer serves a unique and essential role, one that ultimately answers to the veterans of our community. Mayors come and go, but the needs of our veterans and the debt we owe them remain constant. I urge the council to immediately post the position and begin the process of identifying, selecting, and training a qualified candidate for this critical role. Our veterans deserve nothing less. Thank you for your attention. Respectfully, Paul Jensen. So with that said, the mayor, it was posted today. Francisco Urena has offered his assistance not only with the process, but also selecting, helping the mayor select the right candidate. So I just wanted to read that. Thank you for that.
Great, excellent news.
And I have one more thing, if I could, during the mayor's thing. I just, for the record, I just wanted to, at the beginning of the mayor's report, the chair gave you a stern warning. For the record, she does not speak for me. I think the bar's been set very high with social media posts, not only from this council, but also the mayor's office. Sometimes we're going to agree, sometimes we're not going to agree, but if you want to post, I have no problem with that. I know it's going to be in good taste, but she does not speak for me. And like I said, you know, if we're going to post, you should be able to post too. It is what it is. I don't post, but, you know, have at it. Thank you.
Thank you, Counselor. Any further questions, discussions? Counselor Drew?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Mr. Mayor, you spoke about the audits. You briefly went into the building one. We talked about train. I will work with you on that to review those proposals that they come through. You didn't mention anything on the parks RFP, where that stands. When we discussed this back in mid-February, we discussed trying to get it out into April. You said we try to have it out at the start of April. I know we're into a hectic budget season. We just want to know, is there movement on this? Has it been moved at all?
So the timetable that I initially shared was perhaps ambitious given where we're at in terms of the budget preparation process and the challenges there. But, you know, the fact that this is something that, you know, we're continuing to discuss during these meetings, certainly keeping it top of mind for us. And so we're going to get to a point where, you know, my goal is, as soon as humanly possible, having a contract on the agenda as a result of that process. So, you know, I would encourage you and certainly any of the councils who are interested, let's keep it on the agenda. Let's keep it in the discussion so that even as other issues come our way and we're forced to deal with putting out the various fires that may arise on a day-to-day basis, this is something that we're continued to be reminded of. So nothing yet, but we'll keep pushing on.
All right, because my only concern, and as I expressed to you, is when we get into this, grant season's going to start, and we want to make sure that we're not left out in the cold again and try to get some grants taken care of for our parks across our city.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Okay. Any additions or removals from requests of councilors? Counselor Pesh.
Thanks. I wanted to add for our next meeting, Mr. Mayor, I think the whole council has probably received emails about the pickleball. I think it was exactly a year ago that this was brought before the council, and I know in the administration, Superintendent Angela, I think everybody worked to try to mitigate the situation. Unfortunately, it looks as though the problems haven't really been alleviated, and according to what I received, I think we all did, even the police had to get involved with some point with an altercation involving the pickle courts in the neighborhood. So I just want to put this on. I'm assuming that some discussions, I know Superintendent Angela has already reached out. I'm sure you're working on something. So if we can just put it on request of councilors so that we can get an update going forward.
Yeah, that would be fine. And it's something just to share with you regarding that. So you'll probably recall last year, we had made an effort to install some soundproofing mechanisms at the pickleball courts, and from the sounds of it, as you referenced in some of these communications we're hearing from neighbors, not tremendously effective in their mind. And one of the neighbors had reached out and shared some stories about how municipalities have been kind of reversing course altogether and removing them. I don't think that would be something that anyone would want to see in Methuen, unless perhaps you're one of the neighbors there. But nevertheless, that's something that we do need to engage with the residents on and try to see, you know, what else we might be able to do to help. It's something that sounds like it's an issue in any municipality that has that type of recreational facility. And so, you know, I think one of the things that we always like doing is taking a look at what other municipalities are doing that works in terms of mitigating some of these issues. So perhaps it would be smart for us to take a look at some of the municipalities where this has been a controversial topic and see if there's any ideas out there that have been implemented successfully. So that's something that we can take a look at.
That'd be great. Thanks.
Great.
Okay. Thank you. Any further requests, feel free to email unless you have them currently. All right, we're moving on to public service. Grants, there are none. Licenses, there are none. Contracts. C2682, Rise Group, 195 Francis Avenue, Cranston, Mass. 02910 for Marsh Boiler Replacement. Purchase a Riello Array High Efficiency Condensing Boiler in the amount of $796,689. This includes a 5-year extended warranty. May I have a motion to approve?
Second.
Motion by Counselor Pesh, seconded by Counselor Santos. Discussion. Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This involves, of course, the Marsh boiler, which was a subject of some controversy last year regarding the procurement process. I did have a conversation with Ian Goslin, the Assistant Superintendent for Finance and Operations, and mentioned that I'd be willing and happy to speak to this tonight. There were some concerns last year regarding things like the warranty. There were concerns about the procurement process, generally speaking, and in this case, this has been done properly through the city system. We have a more extensive warranty built into it, and this will help us get after a capital project in our schools that is of absolutely critical importance. It's well past its useful life, and it is something that we had hoped to have fixed last year, but going forward, this will allow us to get after the project and have a solution for this issue once and for all. Thank you.
Okay. Counselor Valley.
Thank you, Madam Chair, through you to the mayor. I didn't see anything in the contract about the disposal of the current boiler. Who will be responsible for that, the city or the contractor?
Well, speaking from remembering how this was dealt with last year, and I have to follow up on that to get a more definitive answer about the mechanics of how that would be dealt with by the vendor. But from what I can recall, the last time this project had initially started, the vendor had been taking care of dismantling or beginning to dismantle the boiler. And so my understanding is that it's something that the vendor would handle. We wouldn't have to worry about that. But if you would like, I can confirm that.
Please.
Just to be safe. But that's my recollection. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any further questions, discussion? None? Okay. All right, seeing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? None. Motion carries. Unanimous. C2683, MB Tractor and Equipment Route 125, P.O. Box 487, Plastown, New Hampshire for the number two, zero-turn mowers with hopper baggers and FRT suitcase weight of 25 pounds for the DPW Environmental Division in the amount of $48,888.60. Can I get a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Counselor Valley, seconded by Counselor Santos. Discussion. Counselor Santos.
So I have several questions about this. So just for informational purposes, what is going to happen to the current machinery that we have to cut the grass? Because what's going to happen to that?
So in terms of the Environmental Management Division of DPW, they're working with very old equipment in a lot of cases, and so this will help to upgrade what they already have. The superintendent is, you might have heard of Mark Jordan. He's the superintendent. So this will allow for the replacement of some of that older equipment, and it's funded through the CIP, and so the funding is available through that mechanism. And then in terms of procurement, I know that's come up in the past, it's funded through a state contract. So regarding this, it is simply an upgrade of some of the equipment that they need, but they need newer versions of it.
So the old equipment, does it get sold out or?
So the CAFO can speak to how that's handled in terms of things from a historical context.
So if we have equipment similar to, perhaps an old mower that we're no longer using, then we will bring it to council. Usually we do it about once a year. We'll bring a list of surplus equipment to council. It'll be vehicles or mowers or equipment or things of that nature that we no longer need and we want to surplus, and usually we auction it off. So once the council agrees to surplus the list, and it would be a detailed list, we then work with an auctioneer to then auction that off, and then we get the revenue for anything that's sold.
All right. And another question I have is, who's responsible to make sure that we are getting the best deals when we buy this kind of equipment?
So like any purchase in the context of government, it's governed by state procurement statutes and the like. And so this actually came up in a different setting recently, where a resident reached out with some very good questions about, for instance, the purchase of some IT equipment. And there was the question about, well, hey, if you look at, say, what you can spend in the private market for some of these products, it's a lot more competitive than what we're seeing, say, on a council agenda when it comes to some of these products. And so, with government, when we have to go out for services or products, we go out to these state contracts and such. We have to pull a certain number of quotes in some cases. And so that way, we default to whatever the best or lowest expense would be for us to take advantage of in that process. And so it's really governed through that structure. It's not really a matter of going out and shopping on our own, say, going to Lowe's or Home Depot or something like that. We do it through, say, for instance, this is through a Combis state contract. And so those are already built by the state, and it's simply a matter of us going to the state contract to identify the best option to meet our needs.
So not only that we are paying a fair amount, but also we are getting the best quality.
That's the thinking.
Thank you.
Any further questions? No. Great. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries unanimous. C 2684, Woodron and Curran, 40 Shattuck Road, Suite 110 in Andover, Mass. 01810, for engineering services for Old Ferry Road culvert replacement, DPW project in the amount of $144,000. Motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Counselor Valley, seconded by Counselor Santos. Discussion. Counselor DiZoglio.
Through you, Madam Chair, to the mayor. Was this done with like an engineering report, or is this a different location of Old Ferry Road with former Mill Perry?
So this is this is funded through the CIP. This is for the engineering services for that project. And so this will be the basis on which further work is done.
So, quick question then, the previous, what Mayor Perry did, what was that for? Because I heard that there was, is this the same project regarding there was supposedly money and then that was promised? I think I heard rumors about this, about it was promised for renovations of that road and then it wasn't. And I was just curious about, is this the same project?
Well, this ties into funding that had been secured from Congresswoman Trahan. So, we have an opportunity to access that federal funding for that project. This had been lined up a while back, I think during Mayor Perry's term. And so this will allow us to finally get after that, but this is only for engineering.
Any further discussion? Counselor Drew.
So after this engineering study's done, when do we expect to see something done with the construction point?
So I don't have that specific timetable off the top of my head, but I am happy to follow up with Director Bauer and the folks from Woodard and Curran who will be working with us on this, but also we've worked, generally speaking, with representatives from McClure. Actually, the deputy director is here, and could perhaps elaborate further.
I'm sorry. Test 1, 2. Okay, can we let MCS? Yes,
There you
perfect.
go.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good evening, Council. So with this contract, it's going to help us finalize the design. So they already started doing a design, like a preliminary design. They were getting all the design, all the data from of the watershed that the area creates. And then also working with Methuen, which they're the consultants helping us design the roadway on Old Ferry Road, make it a little bit wider, safer, because it's been an issue for the businesses that are there. So they're going to utilize some of the information from Methuen and April finalize the design for the proposed culvert. Now, in terms of when it's going to get constructed, as soon as we have the design, we'll have an estimate of how much it's going to be to do the replacement of that existing culvert. And then we're hopeful, I want to say maybe by next year, we'll get the construction going for that culvert.
So you're anticipating a design by the end of the year? You should have all your documents and designs to be able to come back with a cost of what this will be to try to get it done.
Absolutely. I think by the end of the construction season, we'll have a construction estimate and the design, and then from there we'll go out to bid. And then by then, it will be best to wait for next year construction season to get that going for that culvert.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thanks. Councilor Marsan.
Thank you. There's been a lot of discussion whether this road's been accepted, not accepted. The Unaccepted Ways Committee looked at this. Our solicitor, so we've been back and forth, and it's been determined that it is accepted. It was done as a county road back in either 48 or 66. So all that documentation is in hand. The clerk has certified it. Just to put that to bed, that this is a accepted way. So we can spend our money on it.
Thank you, Counselor. Any further discussion? So it's accepted in the term in our eyes, but it is not accepted in the state. That's the email I received today from DPW. So just for clarification.
I think that they don't have, we just have to let them know that it is accepted, and then what they'll do is that they will update their GIS system online.
Correct.
And then we'll see that.
But I also want to point out that this is something we have to do with a long list of streets that we have. And we're picking and choosing. I don't understand why. And I'm in agreement that this is a safety issue over there on Old Ferry Road. But as we do for some, we must do for all. So I want to just publicly state that. We got to work on that unaccepted road list.
I agree.
Thank you.
Definitely.
I appreciate that.
So I can address that. We're not randomly picking and choosing. It has to do with whether the road pre-existed at a certain date. And we are going to go through, and I know the committee knows this, that we are trying to go through that list to see if there is sufficient evidence for us to do the same thing that we've done with Ferry Road in terms of documentation to support that it was accepted. So we will go through that list, and to the extent that we can establish that by maps or other things, because these are roads where no resolution or town meeting vote exists. So there are, if the roads existed and were public before a certain date, and they can be considered accepted. We have to go through individually and look at them. So
Yeah,
we are doing that.
I appreciate that, Mr. Solicitor. My point is where and I sent this question over to the CAFO earlier, was it FY24 that this was allocated for? So to my point, with a street that's not accepted at the state level, we've allocated $144,000 for the engineering of that. We haven't done that for others. So my point is, let's get to it and let's do it for the others as well. Thank you. So with that being said, sorry.
So now that
Counselor.
we're on this, we're Old Ferry Road being accepted from Methuen, but not the state. What do we need to do to get it so the state accepts it, so we could receive funding for it, so then that could help with improving the road? What do we have to do to do that?
The DPW director.
Yep, so I will contact District 4, one of the engineers. I'll let them know that there's a discrepancy on their end when it comes to this portion of street. Let them know that it is accepted, then I will just provide them all the documents that we have, some prior maps, all the language that we have, all the research that the solicitor did, provide that to them, and what they'll do is they'll just record that on their end, and then they will update their GIS.
Oh, through you, Madam Chair. And once we do that, could we receive, we will receive funding that could possibly help with this project down the road?
Potentially, yes. Yeah, you could use Chapter 90 this and in other locations where there are other streets, roads that, let's say, are accepted, and we could do this type of work, which in this case we were lucky with this portion where we have, the solicitor did a lot of the legwork, but either way, if we had this information, we could just let the Mass DOT know, hey, this is what we have, and then and then we'll just update their data.
Perfect.
So this was, just so you know, this was submitted to Mass DOT. Mike Welsh submitted this quite some time ago, and he's still waiting for confirmation on several of the roads that he submitted evidence. Some were resolutions that were found, some were evidence like this that was confirmed by the solicitor's office. So there are a number of outstanding, but Mass DOT is aware of this one, and they generally will rely on our opinions for that purpose, for Chapter 90 funding. Doesn't mean we'll get more Chapter 90 funding, but it means that we, to the extent it's available, we can use it for those purposes. Sometimes it results in more funding. It just depends on how
And
they're
I do
allocated.
want to say for the record, when I was in a Essex Highway County Association, this is where all the Essex County municipalities will go. There was a representative from Mass DOT, and he let us know, hey, if there's any discrepancies, what we have in terms of information and what the cities and towns have in terms of what the status are for the roads, please let us know. So they're relying on us to let them know, hey, this looks good or this doesn't look good.
All set, Counselor? Okay. So since we're talking about that, there, unaccepted ways, Mr. Michael Welch, since he was just referenced, his contract is out. Is that going to be renewed, Mr. Mayor? For that work to continue?
So I had spoken with Mr. Welsh in recent months about working with us on that broader project to have the website, the map, where you can actually see accepted ways, unaccepted ways, DPW, and the GIS specialist to have that up and running. And so as far as I'm aware, his work is largely finished just in the context of his contractual relationship with the city. But, if there's a desire from the council to take a look at further utilization of his services, we'd have to discuss that with them.
Okay. Thank you. All right. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimous. C 2685, WB Mason, 274 Cummings Park, Woburn, Mass. 01801 for Community Development Office redo, keeping the same design as other offices in the amount of $73,454.63. Motion to approve.
So moved.
Motion by Counselor DiZoglio. Second by Counselor Samar. Discussion. Counselor Valley.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Through you to the CAFO. I just have a question regarding the CIP. So can you clarify if the unspent funds in the CIP roll over into the next fiscal year?
So once the amount has been approved by council and bonded, similar to the fiscal year 24 CIP, then that money is set aside for that purpose, and it will roll until we use it or the council chooses to repurpose it.
Okay, that was the next question. Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Any further questions or? Counselor Drew.
I don't want to sound like a stickler, but I mean, we're looking at a $74,000 refresh of an office in what looks to be a very difficult budget season. I feel like it's a little not proper in my mind that we should be spending 75 grand to move desks. But that's just my opinion.
Thank you, Counselor. Any further discussion?
If I could just respond to that, I just want to note these are not budgeted funds. These are not additional funds. These are funds that were already put aside, set aside, and bonded. And so these are funds that we already have for this purpose. And if we don't use them, they will sit there, and they could actually count against us at a certain point. But these are not budgeted funds. Just a note.
So, Counselor Drew.
So when you say they're budgeted, I understand that we budgeted them in the capital expenditures, but like you just said, if they don't get used, you can repurpose them into other items, yes?
You can repurpose them through resolution, yes, but those have already been bonded, which means we're paying debt on that, whether we use it or not.
You took a loan on this to do this?
We did, yes.
Okay. So we're paying debt service regardless?
That's right.
Counselor,
Do you, Madam Chair? So,
They're also just restricted revenue. They can't be used for just anything. So they're not general budget revenue that can be used for other things.
so was this project done by the previous council that approved it, and then the debt happened, or was it budgeted? Like, I'm just wondering, because if you're asking for approval and it's already done, why you ask?
So the project's not done. The funding is in place. So we've already asked for the funding. The funding's been put in place. Now we're asking to do the actual project.
So if we do repurpose, okay.
Just to provide some further clarity, so there have been other offices that have undergone the same type of revamp under the same context that this was established back in fiscal year 24. This is one of the straggler projects, so to speak, that had not been taken care of up until now, but it's part of a broader effort that has been underway for some time in other offices.
So through you, Madam Chair, so like Councilor Drew was saying, if we repurposed it, the debt's still there, like you have to pay it, correct?
Yes, so you would have to repurpose it for a like project, because when we issue debt, not to get overly complicated, but when you issue debt, it's based on the asset, so the furniture and how long it would take to depreciate. So you can't repurpose equipment for a building, for example, because they're not comparable. So we would have to repurpose it for a like project. So most likely a building improvement or small equipment type thing. But yes, it's money that we're going to owe whether we utilize it right now or not.
Thank you.
Thank you. So for clarity, that could be repurposed for the conference room that's 100 years old down on the second floor. Okay, perfect. Any further discussion? Nope. All right, we're on C. Let me put my glasses on. Yeah, I'm going there now. C-2685, all those in favor?
Roll call, please, Madam Chair.
Okay, I'll take a roll call, Madam Clerk.
Counselor DiZoglio.
No.
Counselor Drew.
Yes.
Counselor McLaurin.
Yes.
Counselor Marsan.
Yes.
Counselor Pesh.
No.
Counselor Santos.
No.
Counselor Samard.
Yes.
Counselor Valley.
No.
Chair Soto.
No. What's your count?
So that's 5 no, 4 yes.
Motion fails. Next item, C-2686, an employment contract by and between the City of Methuen and Mr. Daniel Donahue, Assistant Fire Chief. Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Counselor Pesh, seconded by Counselor Santos. Discussion. Is the chief here? Just in case there's questions for you, Chief. Thank you.
Madam Chair?
Yes, sorry.
You talking about the fire chief or Dan Donahue?
I'm not, the fire chief is the assistant fire chief.
He's on vacation, Mr. Donahue.
Oh, okay, thank you. Yes, and do you think you have questions for the fire chief, if any? No? Okay. All right. Any questions, discussion? None? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Unanimous, motion carries. Thank you.
Yes, Jen.
Did you need a roll call on that? No. Okay. I'm moving on to other officers and committee reports. I know some of you have had meetings. Counselor DeZoglio, the floor is yours.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. So the Public Safety Committee met today. We did go down to the rail trail in the last few weeks. The bird sanctuary, we had conservation down there to actually clear a path. To talk about clearing a path, we have to go to the Conservation Commission to get approved to cut up trees and stuff like that because it might disturb habitats. Also, we brought up a new ordinance that we are going to be working on. Lawrence just recently did a new ordinance regarding these dirt bikes that are causing havoc through our neighborhoods, especially during the summertime. The ordinance says that gas stations are to refuse giving them gas. The chief has that ordinance. We're going to try and bring it to the next couple of weeks to work on that so we can bring it to the council and have you guys vote on that. We also talked about utility companies coming in. Councilor Soto, Madam Chair Soto, has been working on that and has an ordinance that we're going to be working on. Hopefully we can bring you through that. Also working on handicap parking is also a major thing that we are working on. I don't know if I can say this in the meeting, but Mr. Felix, if he's still here, no, he's not. So I was going to ask him, supposedly there was an estimate done regarding lighting, if he is, with National Grid getting power down to the rail trail to at least set up possible cameras and other things for public safety use. But yeah, that's all for my report.
Thank you, Counselor. Any further reports from any other meetings? No? Seeing none, moving on to unfinished business. Resolutions. TR 2632, a resolution accepting Section 21 to 23 of Chapter 32B of the Massachusetts General Laws for the purpose of evaluating health insurance options. It's a request of the mayor. I would need a motion to remove from the table if that's what the body wants. Motion to remove. Seeing no motion, TR 2632 remains tabled. Next item, TR 2635, a resolution authorizing an expenditure of $1,700 from the Castle Fund to the American Legion, Post 122, for the Memorial Day Parade, requested by the mayor and the Commission on Trust Funds. Motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Counselor Drew, seconded by Counselor DeZoglio. Discussion. Seeing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Unanimous, Madam Clerk. Motion carries. Moving along. TR 2636, a resolution proclaiming Motorcycle Safety Awareness Month in the city of Methuen, sponsored by Chair Soto, Counselor DeZoglio, and Valley, and co-sponsored by Mayor Beauregard. Motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Counselor Drew, seconded by Counselor Valley. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Unanimous, Madam Clerk. Motion carries. Motion to approve TR 2637, a resolution transferring custody and control of the Courier School to city government, requested by the mayor. Motion to approve.
So moved.
Motion by Counselor Drew, seconded by Counselor, who was that? Santos. Thank you. Discussion, if any. Counselor DiZoglio.
Just for public record again, through you, Madam Chair, to the solicitor, by me approving this, he still has to come back to us to determine if he was going to sell it for a SERP and what he wants to do with the building, correct?
Correct. It will still need to be surplus to be sold or transferred. Yes. We'll have to come back before council.
Okay. Any further questions? Discussion? All those in sorry, Counselor Valley.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And this is to the mayor, through you to the mayor. I saw the maintenance is like close to 40,000. Can those two properties be like winterized and shut the utilities up and maybe save that money now that we're expecting the budget that we know is not going to be
Yeah,
the previous one?
That's certainly a great question. So when it comes to the Courier School, there's really no active use at all there. This is slightly different from, say, the Pleasant Valley School, where there's still some storage space there for the school department, but also that's the location of the city archives and the like. And so that's certainly something that we could aim to reduce. But at the same time, once this is surplused, I'm motivated to get this into a state where we can generate revenue for the city and get it into the hands of prospective developers so that we can ensure that it ultimately achieves the end goal, which is to convert these two parcels into new housing opportunities for our residents, something namely our veterans, our seniors and the like, who anytime I'm at the senior center, one of the loudest things that I hear is we need more housing for seniors, especially people who are just being priced out of their home. And so, in terms of long-term maintenance cost, my expectation is that we're not going to be holding on to these for very long.
Thank you.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Unanimous, Madam Clerk. Motion carries. Motion TR 2638, a resolution transferring custody and control of the Pleasant Valley School to city government, requested by the mayor. Motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Counselor Drew, seconded by Counselor Vice Chair Pesh. Discussion. Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So this is something that's come up in conversation from what I've heard recently regarding the archive situation. I have been in touch in the past with Dan Gagnon and others from the historical groups who take care of, preserving the archives and organizing them and properly storing them, et cetera. And so at this point, a major part of this project is going to be to relocate those archives. And so if the goal is to move on getting these properties out there to the private market, one key component here is to ensure that we have a location for the archives. There's several different possibilities that we can consider, whether it's the provincial house at the estate or other possible resources that are available to us. So we're looking at that. So I just wanted to state that publicly because I know it's been an issue of concern.
Perfect. Okay. If there's no further discussion, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Unanimous, Madam Clerk. Motion carries. TR 2639, a resolution authorizing acceptance of an FY26 Green Communities Grant Award from the Massachusetts Department of Energy Resources, requested by the mayor and Director Wilson. Motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Counselor Drew, seconded by Counselor Santos. Discussion. Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Unanimous, Madam Clerk. Motion carries. TR 2640, A resolution accepting Section A of Chapter 200A of the Massachusetts General Laws relating to the disposition of unclaimed property. Request of Counselor Valley. Motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Counselor Drew, seconded by Counselor DiZoglio. Discussion. Any? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Unanimous, Madam Clerk. Motion carries. Ordinances? None. New business. Resolution TR 2649, a resolution of the City of Methuen City Council to name the fields of Burnham Road in honor of Mary McDonough. Request of Councilor Pesh with support of State Representative Ryan Hamilton. I need a motion to approve.
So moved.
So moved.
Motion by Counselor Drew, seconded by Counselor DiZoglio. Discussion. Counselor Pesh?
Thank you. This is something that I'm excited to bring forward, but before we do that, we have to make sure that we follow procedure. So 2 things. One, there is a Scribner's error. My name has 2 N's. So if we can just fix that. And then what I'd like to do is, according to TR 2270, we have to post this for a public hearing before we can go forward with it. So I would ask for a motion, or I'll actually make a motion to table for a public hearing.
Second.
I have a privileged motion by Counselor Pesh, seconded by Counselor Drew. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion is tabled. Resolution is tabled for public hearing. Thank you. TR 26-42, resolution requesting the city implement a seasonal restroom policy for non-city use of city-owned and city-operated athletic fields, sponsored by Counselor Drew, Counselor McLaren, and Counselor Valley. Motion to approve.
So moved.
Motion by Counselor DiZoglio, seconded by Counselor McLaren. Discussion. I'll give the floor to Counselor Drew.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This resolution came to the Parks Subcommittee's attention as there was a question from a constituent regarding the bathrooms and the usage. We had a conversation with Director Angelo about the problem, and he had brought to us that he let the fields know that they won't have bathrooms. And as a plumber by trade, there was only 6 days in March that we were overnight over freezing. So I can tell you there's a major problem with frozen pipes in New England. The other part to this, speaking with Director Angelo, was we will be incurring the cost to put the porta potties on these fields to allow the people to use them and have the sanitary conditions. But these groups that are using the fields are outside entities. And they collect their own fees, they do their own things, and we will be incurring costs. This resolution here is to ensure that we're not going to incur that cost going forward, and will ensure that the facilities are made available to the groups by their own group in order to utilize our fields. It does leave enough flex in here for the Parks Department to use their own discretion, whether they need to open the fields or they have that ability because the weathers have turned, because we all know sometimes spring comes a little earlier. But this is going to allow us to have a framework for the Parks Department to make sure that those are captured.
Great. Further discussion, questions? I have a question. Maybe it's to the Recreation Director, or maybe to you, Counselor Drew. Have the sports organizations that are using our field been communicated that this was being brought to the table so that they understand that now they carry the burden of the cost? Understanding that some of these expenses for the students to be able to participate are usually at cost to maintain it low for participation?
That has not been a communication I've had with these leagues yet. So obviously this is the first ongoing conversation we're having here at the table to discuss this. It's something I will definitely be having a conversation with them with. With that, in diverse respect, I would also like to say that the city is very supportive of our youth groups. I'm very thankful to everyone at the table, the mayor's office, that we don't charge user fees to utilize our fields either. So this is a conversation that I would be having with them. Obviously, we want to get those bathrooms on as soon as we safely can to make sure that we have that. I think that this resolution that came up from the subcommittee, and I want to thank everyone in the subcommittee for working on this, kind of protects both. It protects the city and the infrastructure, but also ensures that any of the users have a opportunity to utilize restroom facilities while using the fields. We want to get the kids out on the fields as soon as possible. We don't want to hold them up because, sorry guys, we don't have bathrooms, so we can't let anyone in the field. I think this is a great solution to a issue that got brought up from one of the constituents.
Yes. So a follow-up question to the communicating with the sports, those running the sports programs, and incurring the cost. Would pushing the season be an option other than having to, because I thought that would have been an easy fix if they could have moved, like baseball is it that started in March, correct? And it could start in April.
It all depends in the tough part about saying, okay, well, start it on April 15th. Is when we've had kids that have been bound up in the houses all winter long. As in the spring season in itself is very, very short. And especially with the weather that we get during the springtime where, yeah, it's cold, but then we might get rain for 2.5 weeks. They don't want to run spring sports into summer vacations, and there's different summer leagues that run into it. So you really have a 10-week stretch to get all these spring sports in. So pushing off the start of it would put them in a really bad bind as in terms of scheduling to ensure that the kids have the great opportunity to participate.
Okay. I also have something to point out. Did you have something, Counselor? I'm sorry. So at the top it says ordinance, and this is just the words, but then inside it says resolution. So I understand it's under a new resolution, correct? So it was just an error in...
That was my error. I meant to change that when I drafted it.
Okay.
I did have communication with the council clerk, but we obviously
Okay.
miscommunicated, so.
Okay.
I think the sponsor is okay with that.
Counselor, so if... Counselor Santos.
So I just want to bring something to the table. So the same way we are going to charge other towns to use our fields are going to be charged when our kids go and play on other towns and cities as well. To use.
I'm not sure I understand the question, Council. Can you repeat that? Please?
So my understanding is that we are charging the league to be able to use facilities, right?
So we do not charge like Methuen Youth Baseball does not get charged to utilize the facilities here in the city. Outside rentals will do incur a charge to utilize.
Okay.
So this is for the portable bathrooms.
The portable bathrooms.
Like, you know, the ones that are plastic and you open the door. Yeah. Can I also ask, do you know what those cost per day? Maybe Counselor Marsan knows because you're in that world.
So I will tell you that I rent a lot of porta potties through the events. So really your setup cost is about $125 to $135 with a weekly fee of about $100, give or take $10 each.
So it won't kill, it won't, okay. That makes sense. Okay. Thank you. Any further discussion? Seeing none? With the changes of, if somebody wants to make that clarification, or should that be tabled for those clerical errors?
No, it's fine. We can fix that.
For the second
It's a
read?
resolution, not an
Okay.
ordinance.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Unanimous. Motion carries, Madam Clerk. All right, next item. TR 2643, a resolution authorizing a transfer of $42,500 from our general fund accounting personnel service expense to a general fund accounting other expense to appropriately fund expenditures for grant writing services requested by the mayor and the CAFO. Motion to approve.
So moved. Second.
Motion by Counselor Drew, second by Counselor DeZoglio. Discussion. Counselor Valley.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Through you to the CAFO. I see here a grant administrator, but does serve a different purpose. So is it a grant writer or a grant administrator?
So it's a grant administrator, but that's how we budgeted for it this year. We don't have a grant administrator. So during the 26 budget process, we put $42,500 in the accounting line on the personnel expense line, assuming that we were going to hire someone. Upon further discussions and going through an RFP process, we've decided that instead of hiring someone, as we don't think that we need a full-time person, that we wanted to contract with someone, so we would need to then pay that expense out of the other expenses. So still within the accounting, but instead of in personal services, it would be other expenses.
Yeah, my understanding is that a grant administrator manages the funds awarded. So who's going to write the grant?
So I can provide some additional context. So in terms of the RFP for grant writing services, the response that we received was largely in keeping with what we had outlined in the specs for the RFP, which was right now we don't have, and we never really had, a dashboard. We've never had an overarching strategy. Typically, departments just go out and they'll do their own thing in terms of getting grants, which is good, and we've secured funds through that, but we really need to have a streamlined version of that, and having that dashboard on top of the procurement services, going out and actually helping us with applications, not just applications, but also once we get the grants, the closeout aspect, compliance, all of the above. That's the type of service that we would get through, say, a grant administrator. It would include writing, it would include development of the dashboard, but also the follow-through aspect as well.
So, are you all set?
No, no, yeah.
That was for emphasis, Madam Chair.
What about the compensation? Is this going to be like an hourly rate or just fee per grant secure or procure?
So for the responses that we got, very similar to what we see in Haverhill, where it's an hourly rate up to a certain amount. And so the contract that we would bring before the council, it would include a not to exceed annual minimum. So it would be on an hourly basis up to a certain amount.
Thank you.
And also something else, I think I may have referenced this during my report, but I'll share it again. We were very specific in the specs where our goal is to generate at minimum range of $3 to $4 million annually in new grant awards above and beyond, say, entitlement grants. And so we were specific in terms of the goals, and we would certainly need to hold the vendor to that in order to justify the expense that we'll be asking for ultimately.
Thank you.
Councilor Drew.
Mr. Mayor, Madam CAFO, so could you just explain the thought process behind outsourcing this to a third party versus bringing somebody in and having that person on staff full-time doing this for us constantly? Is it cost too much, or is it, what is it?
Well, speaking from the city's experience, and the CAFO could certainly elaborate here, this was, I think, during Mayor Perry's time in office. The city had for a time budgeted for and posted an actual grant writer position. And I don't know if it was an issue perhaps with a salary that was too low or what, but it didn't generate significant interest at all. And so when you look at other municipalities, I've referenced in the past many times the city of Haverhill, they have an interesting system where they contract with an individual, I think it's a retired teacher, who focuses on applying for state grants, and then also they contract with a federal lobbying firm out of Washington. I think it's Merchant McIntyre. They pay this firm, in essence, I think it's like an $8,000 monthly fee. But what they do is they go out and they secure federal earmarks. It's more of a lobbying effort on behalf of the city. And so we had engaged in initial conversations with, for instance, that firm on the recommendation of Haverhill. And the issue that some of these firms have, and the reason why this has taken longer than hoped for, it's that, for instance, with Merchant McIntyre, we wouldn't be able to contract with them because of the fact that we're in the same congressional district as the city of Haverhill. And in turn, they would be dealing with a conflict issue because we have the same member of Congress that Haverhill does. And so when it comes to getting those types of federal earmarks and the like, they would need to be going directly to members of Congress on our behalf. And so there's a conflict issue with some of these companies. And so the other thing, too, was we had some discussions with some folks who shared an interest in possibly working with us as a contractor to try to help secure grants. And you know, we had some concerns about experience and, you know, we'd be making an investment in a service. We want more of a track record that we can rely on in terms of moving forward. And so that's what the thought of going out to the RFP, going out to the market to get a sense of you know, actual companies that can help us with this. And so long and short of it, this has been a very long road where the city has in the past attempted to post the position, had little luck in terms of finding the right candidate. But then you look at other municipalities, and what we're anticipating budgeting for in fiscal year 27 would encompass a full-bore, full-scale effort along the lines of what Haverhill is doing, where we would have an effort for state grants, but also available space in the budget to contract with a federal lobbying firm, perhaps in Washington even, like other cities do, to help us with securing additional support from the feds.
So your anticipation of the vendors that we're going to be looking at from the RFP, there would be two different vendors, one local, state, and one federal. So this $150,000 that you're going to allocate roughly will be for two different vendors.
That's correct. So the thinking is that the more local vendor, we would be able to work with them mainly on the state grants, but also working with them as well on building the dashboard and getting that system set up that we currently don't have. And beyond that, when I speak about the government relations firm, that would be more of like a lobbying effort, which I view as separate from setting up a dashboard and working with us on applications and the like. So I'm really modeling this after Haverhill's successful approach.
Thank you.
Any further questions, discussion? Seeing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Unanimous. Motion carries, Madam Clerk. TR 2644, a resolution authorizing a transfer of $40,000 from free cash to the general fund accounting other expense budget line to fund necessary payroll processing expenditures requested by the mayor and the CAFO. Motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Councilor Drew, seconded by Councilor Valley. Discussion. Councilor Marsan.
So obviously a question to the CAFO. Why?
So we had, so as you may or may not know, we've been working with Munis, which is our accounting finance software, to implement payroll services through Munis so that it's all connected and interconnected. Right now, we currently use Harper's Payroll Services. That's who we've used for a very long time. And that's how we process payroll every week. That's the city, and the school department uses them as well. Our plan was, our original goal was to implement during fiscal year 26 to get that off the ground and therefore be able to back off of Harper's. So we only budgeted for a little more than half a year in Harper's. Unfortunately, that process is taking longer than we had anticipated. And the school isn't as far along as the city is, so their implementation is not going to go as quickly as the city's is. Both the cities and school processing fees come out of this one line. So we are asking for funds to cover the remainder of this fiscal year in order to continue payroll services, with the goal at this point right now to implement payroll on the city side as of 7/1.
So the next question is, when will we get Munis up? Well, that's always been a discussion.
Well, Munis is up. So the finance system is phenomenal and
that part is functioning,
works
but
wonderful. So the goal right now is to get the HR modules and payroll, so two different modules working and live 7/1. That's, again, on the city side. So there will still be costs for Harper's on the school side because they're not going to be ready to implement at that point.
Thank you.
Counselor Valley.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Through you to the CAFO. I've received the breakdown that you sent to me for all the invoices paid to Harper's. So I noticed on September 2025, you paid over 12,000, but on November only 4,800. So why is that difference from one month to the other?
So I would have to, specifically for those two, I'd have to pull up. But generally, when you see an increase like that, it's because they're doing reporting for us. So you might see a blip around year end or around fiscal year end where we pay a little bit more because they've done ADA or some kind of ACA, I'm not ADA, ACA reporting for us. So we have to pay for that separately. Or there's more payroll in one month versus another month. So we pay per payroll. The city pays every week. So we have some months where we're paying 5. We have some months that we're paying 4. So there'll be blips there. And then on the school side, they pay every other week. So again, they might be 1 month there's 3 payroll, and there's other months that there'd be 2. So there's fluctuations there. But usually when you see the bigger amounts, it's because they've done some kind of reporting for us. They do our W-2s, so you'll see a fluctuation there where we pay that invoice, once a year, where that's a bigger one.
So Munis hopefully will be implemented by July 1st.
That's our current
Are you
goal.
anticipating 60,000 for April, May, and June for 3 months?
The ask is 40,000.
Thank you.
Yep.
Counselor Drew.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I wasn't on the council last year budget time, but I do remember sitting over there, and there was a line item cut for $40,000 for these payroll expenses. Because, as I believe it was said, correct me if I'm wrong, this has been a longstanding thing that had to have been done for this year. So what we're essentially doing is putting back the money that was cut out of last year's budget because we did not hit a benchmark. Okay, thank you.
Counselor DiZoglio.
So, from my understanding, from the school side, how long have we had Munis? Because from the school side, I know we've had it for like 2 to 3 years.
So 24 was the first full fiscal year that we were utilizing Munis.
Yeah. So, and how much are we paying for Munis every year?
A little over 200,000.
And we still don't have it up like after 2 years?
Mm-hmm.
Like, can I ask, like, what is the issues of getting it up and running? Like I said, I'm not part of the department. If we're paying $200,000 a year for a program that we don't have fully running yet after 2 years, I feel like, is it not, like, worth it? Or like, what's the difficulty of getting it up and running?
So that amount is for all of the different modules. So included in that dollar amount is the financials that the city and the school are both using. And so those are fully functioning. The HR and payroll piece, we have very antiquated records that we have currently. So everything that we are trying to put into Munis, a good portion of it is manual. So that's taking people off of their day-to-day jobs, day-to-day work, processing payroll weekly, et cetera, and having them manually put all of this information together. It's taken an enormous toll. That's one of the reasons why the school department's behind, is they haven't been able to give the amount of attention needed at this point, just because of the needs that they have on the day-to-day. We don't have somebody who's solely set just to do this. If I had someone who I could say, this is your job, 40 hours a week, you're going to get it done, it would be a different conversation. Anybody who's working on this project has a full-time job with us doing other things. And that's not an excuse. I would have loved to have gotten this done earlier, but that's what's taking the toll. All of our accruals are on paper and in Excel. So all of that needs to be pulled together, put into something that we can then bring into Munis. So ultimately, yes, Munis is going to be fantastic because it's going to be all at the key. Somebody in HR puts in somebody, and I'm not trying to overshare, but like, for example, right now, new hire comes in. New hire goes to HR, they go through the process. We literally have a 3-part form that goes from HR to the department head, to me, to the mayor, physically signing off on them. Then it goes back to HR, then it goes to payroll. I mean, this is all physical papers moving along. So it's very antiquated, but because of we're starting with having to move things from this to this. So again, it's not an excuse. I really, really want this done. And the push is to get it done. But it's taken an enormous amount of time and effort.
Councilor DiZoglio.
So, through you, Madam Chair. So the thing I want to ask, because I know on the school side, sometimes when it comes to our documents that we wanted to scan through, we hired an outside entity to kind of get all of our records up to the computer. Does Munis provide someone to help you with your documentation? Obviously, we have to pay for it, but what would be the cost for that, for them to come in and say, okay, we will scan all your documents for you to get you up?
So right now, we actually have someone who's coming in and working with our department, the handful of people that we've put on this. We have someone from Tyler Technologies who owns Munis. They come in at least once a week, whether it's virtually or in person, and meets with these people for an entire day and walks through and literally is helping them put stuff in and it's very, very hands-on. We actually had them here last week or the week before for 3 full days in person. I believe they're coming back next week for 3 full days in person. So we're getting it done. We weren't maybe utilizing that before. So it's a great idea. That's kind of how we've kind of upticked the process because we weren't utilizing them quite as much. And we're paying for those services, those trainings through the HR budget training budget right now. So we've taken steps to expedite this at this point. But again, the in-house, we don't have the people to just take off of other things to put on just this.
Councilor DiZoglio, then Councilor Valle.
So my next question is, how long is it going to take with all this help? Because I don't want to put or cut anything from your budget next year where you're coming back and asking we need $40,000 to $50,000 for free cash again. So the question I'm asking, will this be done before the budget? Probably not, right?
Before the budget?
Yeah.
Well, the budget's due in 2 weeks, so I don't think so.
So when do you see this being completed?
So our goal right now on the city side is to go live 7/1. Right now, that's still our goal. Like I said, we meet with them every week, so we'll be able to update you. And I'm happy to, if you want to put that on the CAFO section so that I can kind of give you updates at each meeting until we get closer to 7/1, happy to do that. But right now, that's the goal. Again, that's only on the city side. The school will not be there. So there will be money budgeted on that line, at least for the school department.
All right. Thank you.
Councilor Valle.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just want to add to that. I had a conversation with Chief Santiago today, and he explained to me the Munis has to be implemented in 5 phases, and it does take time because if you do it all at once, it might create like a chaos. He even mentioned it to me, municipality, that it took them 10 years to fully implement it. And he also told me that by July 1st, payroll and HR should be all set. Another thing that we need to take into consideration is we have employees that are not maybe computer savvy or technological, and they need to be trained. So that's why the process is taking so long.
Any further questions or discussion? I have a question, Madam CAFO. So we're paying $200K for Munis, and how much for Harper per year?
It's about 90 to 100,000 without assuming that we're not like just as status quo.
Okay, so that's 300K for these systems for us to have.
Yeah, the 200 though is not just the payroll module. I can
Correct.
get you the breakdown of what is actually
But
related to payroll, but
A portion of that, let's
Yes.
say 25, 50,000, let's say.
Something.
It would go to payroll. So this, I think, and I may be mistaken, I think Counselor Samard was on that council when Munis had to be implemented. So it's interesting, that was it 19? Am I mistaken? Was it 19 or 2020? 2020?
Yeah, the first year we went live was 24.
Yeah, so it
I
took
started
us
in
4
19. years.
years to go live, because I remember that council was really frustrated when we were on here in 24. So I guess there's this theory in accounting that I hear a lot, and it was actually implemented in my company. You start from today on. So you just explained how you have a 3-part document that goes from one office to the other office to the other office. If saying, okay, starting this new employee, we're now digitizing and we're getting rid of paper. In an era of AI, where I'm assuming through Mr. Santiago, some tool could be implemented. If that could be done from then on, I think your process would probably become easier. I'm just throwing that out there. Because come July 1st, Madam CAFO, and this isn't up and running, this is the one thing that weighs very heavily on you as our CAFO. And it's that one thing that, and out there, when we talk to constituents, they say you were brought in to basically implement the system. So with that being said, I know it, and hearing everything at the table, I know it's been a struggle. I know, but I feel that at some point we have to really go from this paper, and I don't want to say accommodating employees, but moving from pen and paper to actually into that system. So thank you for the 300,000, because that is a steep amount of number. So I'm going to go over to the vote. All those in favor? I'm sorry. Mr. Mayor.
Just wanted to state briefly that in terms of the CAFO, her role goes way beyond the implementation of MUNIS. She was brought in, and Councilor Samard can attest to this, at a time when our city was in fiscal crisis, and worked diligently to help get us out of the ditch that we were in and correct many of the financial issues that had been in place. And so I just wanted to state for the public that her role goes well beyond MUNIS, and I know others would attest to that. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Opposed? Yep, no.
I'll take a roll call, Madam Clerk, please. Yes, ma'am.
Counselor DiZoglio.
Yes.
Counselor Drew.
No.
Counselor McLaurin.
Yes.
Counselor Marsan.
No.
Counselor Pesh.
Yes.
Counselor Santos.
No.
Counselor Samard.
Yes.
Counselor Valley.
Yes.
Chair Soto.
Yes.
So that's 3 no, 6 yes.
Motion carries. Thank you, Madam Clerk. TR 2645, a resolution authorizing a transfer of $850,000 from free cash to be transferred to DPW solid waste disposal expenses to fund necessary tipping fee expenditures. Request by the mayor and the CAFO. Motion to approve.
So moved.
Motion by Councilor Drew.
Second.
Seconded by Councilor Santos. Discussion. Councilor Marsan.
Question to the mayor. I listened to your speech the other night, and you said that we saved $200,000 in trash and recycling. And now we need $850, and I understand tipping fees, but that's all part of trash and recycling to everyone.
So those are savings in fiscal year 27 that we were able to secure through the expansion of the contract with Harvey. So we had owed a set amount for the purchase of carts over the life of the contract, and we had still an outstanding balance that we had to pay for Harvey in terms of the carts. And so as part of that process of extending that agreement, one of the things that we were able to negotiate was having a significant chunk of that money that we would have owed on carts in the last year taken out in return for the opportunity for us to extend. They were very motivated for that. And so that was regarding fiscal year 27, not a current year savings that is in the ballpark of relevancy when we're dealing with this issue. So when it comes to the tipping fee situation, we had presented a number in the budget last year. I had actually kind of gone out ahead and made a cut to that line item myself before presenting it to the council. And when it was finally here for the council's consideration, there were further cuts made to that line item. And so, interestingly enough, this $850,000, this is roughly very similar to that amount that had been cut during the budget process last year. I think the amount that we had seen cut was up to $750,000. So the amount that we're projecting that we're going to need is in the ballpark of where the cut had been made last year. And so, I guess this speaks to last year's budgeting process, but nevertheless, apples and oranges when we compare needing to fill this gap for the current year and say savings achieved going forward for fiscal year 27.
To the capital, how much have we, so there was always the citizens were way against doing the carts at the beginning, right? And I was an advocate for it because we were going to have all the savings. So do we really save? It seems like we're always appropriating more money for it. And this bothers me because it's coming out of, you want to take it out of free cash. This is going to be $1 million out of free cash. And I don't think it should come from there, but we have to spend, we have to pay the bill somewhere, but I guess at some point, can we come up with a spreadsheet to say what we're saving on tipping since we've gone to the...
So we do have data. I think I may have shared it at a recent meeting that outlined the difference in what the city had in terms of actual tonnage, say in 2021 compared to today. And there has been a meaningful decline in terms of the actual tonnage output from the city. But the issue that we've dealt with along with other municipalities is just these rising costs as it relates to the actual tonnage. And so one of the challenges that we've had is, for instance, there are instances where some residents will dispose of actual trash, for example, in their recycling bin. And so that happens quite frequently. There are times also when even if you take a drive down Pleasant Street, during trash day, you'll sometimes see barrels that are literally overflowing, right? And so in essence, if you have that scaled out across the city in any type of statistically meaningful way, the issue that we're going to run into is the higher output in trash beyond what we're providing for through the cart system. That's contributing to the cost drivers as well. So this speaks to the fact that, we had this goal of bringing in a sanitation coordinator, and we've spoken about this several times. And so now that we have that officially set, we budgeted for it, we've made a hire for that position, the goal is to generate ultimately savings by way of enforcement and ensuring that we are going through the process of ensuring that the ordinance is being followed. So ultimately, that is the reason why we're doing that. It's a structural change that is designed to help generate savings through the enforcement mechanism. But, as long as we have trash going into recycling bins and those trash bins just overflowing, it is negating the purpose of the trash program. And that's why I think it circles back to the need for greater enforcement. Good questions.
Councilor DeZoglio.
Thank you to the mayor, Madam Chair. So you're saying you already made a hire for the sanitation coordinator, correct?
So I am waiting on signing off on the 3-part form as the capital reference in terms of process, but a hire has been made.
Hey, so I know I just approved TR 2644, but $850,000 to me is concerning because I look at this as we try, many of my subcommittees and fellow councilors here try to do projects in the city. This is always an issue where we can't do projects because we're always funding something that we have to fund in the budget from free cash, where we could take money out of free cash and put it towards matching on grants or matching, but we're always worried about that 10% threshold, and we can't spend money to match on grants, but we could do it by people cutting from budgets, which I understand things happen, but it's really bothering me. $850,000 to me could go to so many things in the city to make the city better. And I get it. People made the budget cut. You said to yourself, Mr. Mayor, that this was a line, like the amount that was close to what you cut. Correct? Did you say that?
So ultimately, when the budget process was complete, a total of $750,000 have been cut from the line item, which is, I guess, not precisely the amount here, but it's in the ballpark, I would say.
No, and I'm saying that, and it's just, it's frustrating because we keep spending free cash on things like this when we should be matching grants or doing something like that. And hopefully with the grant writer, grant, that's helped. I hate using free cash on that large amount. And yeah, I don't know how I'm going to vote on this. And I'm going to be completely honest with you.
I couldn't agree more, Councilor. And something that I will say is I think this is a helpful lesson collectively for everyone in local government where, in a couple of weeks, we're going to be presenting a budget, and that budget will have a line item for tipping fees. And although the temptation is going to be there to make cuts, right, this is one of those areas we just have to keep in mind that the projections that the CAFO has established in terms of the amount needed to cover that cost, they're very much in line with the reality as we're seeing this current fiscal year, very much in the ballpark. So my encouragement collectively, all of us, is when we see that number, although it might be tempting to make a cut, we should just remember exactly what you're saying. There is very likely, if we do make a cut, to come a time in the spring of 2027 where we'll have the same conversation again. So it is a helpful reminder for all of us.
Thank you.
Councilor Drew.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Mr. Mayor, Madam CAFO, I think it would be very helpful to this body if at the next meeting, if you would be able to bring maybe the last 3 years or 4 years of trash, what we've seen go up, just in a spreadsheet, show us what we've spent, what we should have spent, and then maybe the allocation of the new position coming in and what we're forecasting as trash barrel fees, income, the potential savings that we may see with this position, so that we can better inform ourselves when it comes to budget time, so that we don't have to just leave a balloon number sitting in the tipping fee, so we can actually see something that might be tangible. I think that would be very helpful. I don't know if you can have the DPW director work with you to put that together, but I think that would be something this body would definitely utilize.
That's a fair ask. We'll work on that.
Any other questions? The body? So I guess I have a question, Madam CAFO. So what happens if this body says, if they vote down the 850, what happens? Do we have an outstanding bill? Do we have a city full of trash? Just in perspective of this is the damage, because this seems like an item, just like the snow. Is it the snow and
Snow and ice.
when you guys bring that in front of us, it's like one of those items that even though I want to vote no, because we didn't budget appropriately or whatever the case may be, I mean, what else can you do? So my question to you is, what happens if that doesn't pass from free cash? What's the outcome?
So I would have to sit with the mayor and the DPW director and make that decision. And is there something else in the budget that we're not going to do in order to cover those? Or are we going to not skip weeks with trash because we're not going to be able to afford the tonnage? We'd have to make those decisions. I don't know.
And then I have the question of, I know we have weekly trash service. Are there any communities, and I haven't done this research, I'm thinking right on the spot, any communities that do bi-weekly trash? Have we looked at, and I guess that's a question to the mayor when he was looking at his, like how can, and I know you hired the person to mitigate, like what do we burn our trash? Like, I don't know, what are the options that we have?
So we actually do utilize waste to energy services to an extent, but when it comes to looking at what other municipalities are doing, there's another mayor down in Medford, I believe Medford, they just changed to, they call it pay as you throw, and her constituents in Medford, from the sounds of it, are on the verge of rioting, with this change. So there are municipalities that are trying new things, in terms of additional charges to residents to dispose of trash. I think that would be a difficult proposition here in Methuen. But there are municipalities that are identifying ways to try to reduce the cost for the municipality. There are municipalities in the Commonwealth that are out of the trash business entirely, and it's all private. You see that up in New Hampshire quite a bit. And so again, I think our residents expect trash service in terms of, they're paying taxes and they expect that, and we owe it to them to provide that. But there are municipalities, just for the sake of sharing this in response to your question, that are looking into other options, because it is something that is increasing in terms of cost. This is one of, I call it one of our budget busters, and it's an annual issue, and cost is going up. So that's the long and short of it.
Thanks. If there's no further discussion, I'll take all those in favor.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Yes.
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 Roll call.
Yeah, give me a roll call.
Counselor DiZoglio.
No.
Counselor Drew.
Yes.
Counselor McLaurin.
Yes.
Counselor Marsan.
No.
Counselor Pesh.
Yes.
Counselor Santos.
No.
Counselor Smart.
Yes.
Counselor Valley.
No.
Chair Soto.
Yes.
1, 2, 3, 4. 5 yes, 4 no.
Motion. It's a fail.
So the measure fails.
Motion fails.
We may have to have a conversation about trash pickup in the city.
Next item, TR 2646, a resolution authorizing the acceptance and expenditure of a Brownsfield Redevelopment Fund grant from the Massachusetts Development Finance Agency in the amount of $75,000, requested by the mayor and Director Wilson. Motion to approve.
So moved. Second.
Motion by Councilor Valley, seconded by Councilor Santos. Discussion. Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Unanimous, Madam Clerk. Motion carries. TR 2647, resolution issuing a letter of support to Andrea Campbell for the state auditor's audit of the legislature as approved by the voters on question 1. Request for Councilor Pesh. Motion to approve.
So moved.
Motion by Councilor Drew. Seconded by Councilor McLaren. Discussion. I'll give Councilor Pesh the floor first.
Sure, thank you. Well, we all know our state auditor, Methuen's own state auditor, has been working so diligently trying to get our legislature audited, and it is hung up now with the Attorney General. I know other communities have done similar letters in support, so I thought we might as well do it from Methuen. Methuen actually had a higher voter turnout than even that of Massachusetts at 74.5%, whereas statewide it was only 71.4%, which is still a very large number. But, I just wanted to do something to help, like I said, our state auditor's efforts. Right now it's in the hands of the Attorney General, Andrea Campbell. So we'll see what happens, but anything we can do to help, I think we should.
Thank you, Councilor. Councilor Samard.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I like the spirit of this, Councilor Pesh, and however I think it's a moot point. I'm totally in favor of it. there's a lot of hypocrisy at the state level, and not only do we pass this, hopefully, but come next election, we vote the hypocrisy out of office. So that would be what I would encourage. Thank you.
Councilor Drew?
Again, I support this. Transparency and respecting what the people wanted is a big thing. My only question is, do we get to sign this, and can I put a big J on it, like the John Hancock on the Independent?
Did we sign it before? I think
You can sign if you wish.
we can sign individually if you want.
All right, I'll get a nice
I don't know
pen.
about the big J.
I have a big J. I'll put it.
Councilor DeZoglio?
Just brief. I believe as elected officials, we work for the people. And when the people vote for it to be audited on the state legislators or any legislator, the fact that you're fighting it, that means you're hiding something. There's nothing, because if anybody wants to audit us or any of that, they should have the right to do that. We stepped in, that we chose to run for office. We chose to be in public eye. You have no secrets. And if you're up there at Capitol, at the State House, or even in Washington, when you're using my tax dollars for whatever you are using, and the fact that you're rejecting it, what the people are saying, I'm happy to sign that any day of the week.
Thank you, Councilor. Any further comments? No? Great. I'll add to that. I agree with the body, but I also feel that when we hold our elected officials to that standard, we also need to hold our employees and others that serve in not only municipality and state. So I want to say that we can say we support something, but in other instances, we're changing some of the transparency. So I just wanted to point that out. So in full support of this, Councilor Pesch, thank you for bringing it to the table. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Unanimous, Madam Clerk. The clerk will create a signature page for all of you to sign. Thank you. TO 26-12, an ordinance to amend the comprehensive zoning ordinance to rezone parcel of land fronting Arcadia Street for commercial improvement. Request of applicant K&K Realty Trust, represented by Johnson and Bornstein LLC, attorneys at law. I need a motion to table to joint hearing, public hearing, and community development.
So moved.
Motion by Councilor Samard, seconded by Councilor Drew. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimous, Madam Clerk. You're all set, sir. Thank you. We'll see you then at the joint hearing. Other business for the good and welfare of the community. I know the mayor has an announcement.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This actually is new, reflects a development tonight. I'm going to be meeting tomorrow with the DPW director to assess what our options are in terms of trash. I do want to share publicly that given the fact that we are not going to be paying the vendor for trash, there is very likely to be a substantial impact to trash pickup service. And I will share an update with the council about what that looks like going forward until a resolution is achieved. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Mayor, in essence of your email earlier today, if you could announce to the body of, thank you.
Yes, another thing too, I'm calling a special meeting of the council this Thursday at I believe 6 or 7? Is it 7? Okay.
7.
So it'll be 7 o'clock to request the council's consideration of the prospect of establishing, with the permission of the state legislature, an early retirement incentive as one of the many tools that we're looking at as a resolution to our budget issues going forward into fiscal year 27. This is something that we've identified as a possible solution to help us reduce costs, simply due to the fact that we're looking at, generally speaking, not to sound like I'm exaggerating it, but we're looking at a transformation of how we're dealing with government from a budgetary standpoint due to the cuts that are about to be made.
Okay. So to the body, if you are not available to be here physically, we could potentially have you online with MCS, but we need 6 members of the body at a minimum for that.
Correct.
Okay. With that being said, thank you for a productive meeting. It is 9:34. May I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Motion by Counselor Pesh, seconded by Counselor Drew. All those in favor?
Aye.
This meeting is now adjourned. Thank you.
Good night, Methuen.
Good night.
Paul, can you send me that stamped notice? I already did. Oh, you're the best. Thank you. I'll post it in the morning.